Chapter 33:26. Could it be that the night demon planet was attacked by other geniuses? Or was it attacked by beasts from the outside world? Seeing the situation in front of him, Sule frowned and speculated. It should be very difficult for beasts from the outside world to break through the defensive array set up by me and my teacher. Knight Sorrow observed everything with a gloomy expression. Then he said worriedly, I wonder where Hasa and Xian Yin have gone. Let's look for them on the night demon planet first. If we can't find them, we can only ask teacher Ji Xian for help. Okay, we'll look for them immediately. Sule nodded when he heard Knight Sorrow's words. Follow me. After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, he released his soul power and searched the night demon planet. At the same time, he sent a message to Hasa, Xian Yin, the chaotic heavenly crystal beast, Baimei Sanrun, and the others. He hoped to get a response from them. However, after searching the entire night demon planet, he did not find anything. None of the people who sent the voice transmissions replied to him. It seems that they are no longer on the night demon planet. Let's go find teacher Ji Xian and ask him to take us to Jielin's planet. After searching the entire night demon planet, he did not find a single friend. Knight Sorrow's heart sank. He was very worried that Hasa, Xian Yin, and the others had been captured or killed by other geniuses in the central courtyard. Then, he found Vice Principal Ji Xian and told him about the situation on the night demon planet. After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, Vice Principal Ji Xian said, Jielin has already told me about what you've said. Some genius in the central courtyard felt that with your strength, you were not qualified to have a foothold there. So, he led people to attack the night demon planet. When all the buildings on the night demon planet were destroyed, Jielin brought the injured Xian Yin and the others to the planet. Don't worry, none of your friends have died. Teacher, please tell me the coordinates of the Jielin planet. I'll go find my friends. After hearing what had happened to the night demon planet, Knight Sorrow was angry, but also slightly relieved. Okay, I'll give you the coordinates of the Jielin planet. However, you have to be careful. The genius who is targeting you this time is very strong and has his own starship. Before you have your own starship, it's best that you don't confront him head-on. Vice Principal Ji Xian could tell that Knight Sorrow was furious and reminded him, Starship? Can a person also own a starship? Knight Sorrow asked doubtfully. He really didn't know much about the central courtyard. After all, he did not linger after obtaining the Night Demon Star. Instead, he left immediately. Of course, last time, I didn't think things through and didn't tell you everything. Here are some things to take note of in the middle courtyard. Take a good look at them. Starships could be exchanged with star points. Of course, starships were not the only things that could be exchanged with star points. There were also many other useful resources and divine artifacts. As for how to obtain the star points, it was stated in the Jade Slip. Go back and take a good look. At this point, Vice Dean Ji Xian continued, and in the middle courtyard, there are many opportunities waiting for you to explore. The things you can obtain will be beyond your imagination. However, the fierceness of the competition will also exceed your imagination. I can't help you or Jielin there. You can only rely on yourselves. Work hard and strive to be the first genius in the middle courtyard to reach the Supreme Realm. I have high hopes for you. Thank you, teacher. Knight Sorrow took the Jade Slip from Vice Dean Ji Xian and thanked him before continuing. I'm anxious to see my friend, so I'll take my leave first. Go. I look forward to seeing you establish yourself in the middle courtyard and make a name for yourself. Vice Dean Ji Xian looked at Knight Sorrow with anticipation. Don't worry, teacher. I'll definitely establish myself in the middle courtyard. Knight Sorrow bowed to Vice Dean Ji Xian and returned to the middle courtyard, heading straight for Jielin's planet. After defeating 3 waves of pirate skulls, he and Sule successfully arrived at Jielin's planet. They had just landed when a few of Jielin's subordinates intercepted them. The leader of the female cultivators immediately scolded. Who are you people? How dare you barge into Jielin's planet? Don't be angry. I'm Night Demon, the owner of the Night Demon Star. I'm Jielin's friend. Help me inform him. Knight Sorrow looked at the female cultivator in front of him and said slowly, You're the useless Star Lord who implicated Master? When Night Sorrow reported his name, the female cultivator immediately retorted with a displeased question. Oh, how did you get the title of useless Star Lord? Hearing this, Night Sorrow was instantly displeased. Sister Jehan, please don't talk so much. He's a Star Lord after all. He's not someone we can afford to offend. The female cultivator called Jehan originally wanted to say something, but at this moment, a female cultivator behind her came out to persuade her, so she gave up. With a cold snort, she and the other female cultivator went to inform Jielin. Not long after, Jielin rushed over. When she saw Night Sorrow, she immediately heaved a sigh of relief and said, "You're finally back. Recently, I've been under a lot of pressure. Thank you for your hard work. What exactly happened?" Night Sorrow could completely feel Jielin's exhaustion and knew that she must have been under a lot of pressure. Let's talk as we walk. Your friends are all recuperating in my palace. Jielin made an inviting gesture to Night Sorrow and Sule and took the lead to fly in front to lead the way. At the same time, she told them what had happened to Night Devil Planet. It turned out that after Night Sorrow left, Meng He and Zhu Qingxian, who had a grudge against him and Jielin, instigated Berenjia to cause trouble for Night Devil Planet. Berenjia drove his starship and brought Meng He and Zhu Qingxian. After arriving at Night Devil Planet, he destroyed all the palaces built by Night Sorrow and the others. He also injured Dancing Woman, Xian Yin, Marquis Wolf, Bai Mei Sanrun, the chaotic Heavenly Crystal Beast, and the others. Then, he warned that no cultivators could exist on Night Devil Planet in the future. If there were, it would be to cause trouble for him, Berenjia, and he would drive his starship to smash it at any time. This time, it was to injure people. Next time, it would be to kill people. As for Jielin, there were experts protecting him, so they did not dare to directly attack him. Bastard, I will definitely teach you a lesson. After listening to Jielin, Night Sorrow immediately flew into a rage. I'm sorry, I've implicated you this time. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have offended Berenjia and Siming. Meng He and Zhu Qingxian are not your match at all. The problem lies with Berenjia and Siming. Jielin said embarrassedly when he saw Night Sorrow's anger. It's not your fault. With my strength, it's hard not to be targeted in the middle of the courtyard. I will think of a way to solve this matter. Night Sorrow looked at Jielin. This time, I have to thank you for taking in my friends. You're welcome. We are friends too. Moreover, it's equivalent to me bringing you into the middle of the courtyard. Naturally, we have to help each other. After Jielin finished speaking, he pointed to the palace in the distance and said, "We're here. Your friends are all inside. I'll bring you in." Chapter 33:27. Jielin, thank you so much. While flying towards the palace, Night Sorrow thanked Jielin again. Then, under Jielin's lead, he entered the palace with Su Lei and saw Hasa Lady, Xin Yin, and the others. What made Night Sorrow extremely angry was that everyone present was severely injured. They were just short of having their Dantian and Divine Soul destroyed. It's all my fault for coming back late and making everyone suffer. But don't worry, I'll avenge you all. Without waiting for anyone to speak, Night Sorrow spoke first. It's all our fault for not being good enough. It has nothing to do with you. That Huang Jie is only an upper heavenly supreme, but he defeated me so easily. Speaking of which, I'm still too weak. Hearing this, Hasa Lady said unwillingly. Bai Mei Sanren, who was the most seriously injured, said, "Brother, our lives are not in danger. Don't be rash." He could feel Night Sorrow's anger, and he was afraid that he would fight Huang Jie to the death. "Brother, don't worry. He's just an upper heavenly supreme who can fight against a half-step to supreme realm. Brother, you're not afraid. When I exchange for a starship, I'll go and trample on his barren thorn planet." Yishang walked in front of White-Browed Wanderer and spoke word by word. Then he took out a pill and gave it to him first. Then he gave it to the others. Speaking of which, Night Sorrow's coming to the foggy area had a lot to do with Bai Mei Sanren. However, While he was doing well here, Bai Mei Sanren's cultivation level was increasing very slowly. Brother, I heard from Miss Jialin that you need a lot of star points to exchange for a starship. I'm afraid it's not that simple. Bai Mei Sanren was a little surprised that Knight Sorrow wanted to exchange for a starship to attack the Barren Thorn planet. He immediately reminded him. After all, Jialin had been in the middle court for so many years and had not gotten a starship yet. At this time, Jialin also said yes. Night Demon, you need 10,000 star points to exchange for a starship. This is definitely not a small number. I'll do my best to investigate this matter. Everyone stay here and recuperate. I'll go back to Night Demon Planet and build our palace. Seeing that no one's life was in danger and that no one was crippled, Knight Sorrow's hanging heart could be temporarily put down. He was ready to return to Night Demon Planet and build his palace. Hearing this, the chaotic heavenly crystal beast immediately advised, no, that group of people was extremely powerful. They were not inferior to experts who were half a step into the supreme realm. If you return rashly, I'm afraid you'll end up like us. I'm not afraid of ordinary cultivators who are half a step into the limitless stage. Sule, stay here and help take care of Pajuo. Yishan looked at the chaotic heavenly crystal beast and said a few words before taking his leave. Even Su Lei was left behind. Then Tong Jilin said, for the next period of time, I will entrust my friends to you. As for me, I will properly deal with Huang Ji and the others. I understand what you mean. I will help you take care of your friend. Also, I have 300 star points here. I'll give them all to you. Jilin knew that Night Sorrow was preparing to fight Huang Ji and the others alone, so he did not bring any friends. She gave out her star token and all the star points on it to Night Sorrow. Thank you. Night Sorrow knew very well that it was very difficult to obtain star points in the middle of the courtyard. 300 star points was not a small amount. It was enough for him to exchange for a certain amount of resources, so he immediately thanked her. You're welcome. We're friends. Also, I have high hopes for you, Jialin said, and then said apologetically, as for the battle with Huang Ji and the others, my strength is not enough, so I shouldn't be able to help you much. I hope you don't mind. Of course I don't mind. Also, I'm very grateful for your Jialin bloodline. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he boarded the starship under Jialin's gaze and used it to return to Night Demon Planet. After stepping onto Night Demon Planet, Night Sorrow collected the destroyed palace and then built an identical palace in the same position. After that, he waited patiently for Huang Ji to arrive. However, after waiting for a long time, he did not see anyone from Huang Ji. Therefore, he began to study the jade slip that Vice President Ji Xian had given him. Then, he read through the entire jade slip once. Only then did he know that there was a star hall in the middle of the courtyard. In the star hall, one could accept missions in exchange for items. And this star hall was the evolved version of the 9-story pavilion. Its level was much higher than the 9-story pavilion. Among the items that could be exchanged, none of them were ordinary. However, according to the level of the items, the star points consumed would also be different. He finished reading the jade slip. Night Sorrow waited for a few more days on Night Demon Planet, but the people from Huang Ji still did not appear. Therefore, he boarded the starship and went straight to the Star Hall. After the starship landed on the platform of the Star Hall, Night Sorrow slowly flew down from the ship. He walked towards the entrance of the Star Hall. As he walked, he saw that some of the guards in the Star Hall were upper heavenly sovereigns. These guards looked at him with unfriendly gazes. Obviously, they felt that he, a lower heavenly sovereign, was not worthy of being a seated contestant in the middle of the courtyard. Night Sorrow did not care about these looks at all. He walked directly into the first level of the Star Hall. According to the records on the Jade Slip, the Star Hall was divided into 9 levels, just like the 9-story pavilion. On the first floor, the items and missions that could be exchanged or accepted were all in the single digits. On the second level, it was in the 10 digits, so on and so forth. If he wanted to exchange for a starship, he would need to enter the 5th level. The items or missions on the 9th level involve hundreds of millions of star points. Night Sorrow did not rush to the 5th level to look at the starship. Instead, he patiently looked at the 1st level. He found that the items that could be exchanged for on the 1st level were mostly star maps and star monster introduction books. In addition, there were some books with rare treasures and elixirs in the middle of the courtyard. After observing for a while, Night Sorrow found that every book seemed to be useful. Therefore, he spent a total of 100 star points to exchange for all 100 books. He knew that these were all necessities in the middle of the courtyard, so he started reading in the main hall. As he read, Night Sorrow found out that the middle of the courtyard was also called the Endless Sea of Stars. It contained an endless amount of star monsters, as well as endless good fortune. In the starry sky, there were endless resources floating, but it was unknown who would find them. If I just mentioned the name of the courtyard, who would have thought that it contained such an endless sea of stars? As he read more, Night Sorrow learned more about the endless sea of stars. In his heart, he had endless imagination about the endless sea of stars. Isn't this the night demon we are looking for? He actually came to the Star Hall. Just as Night Sorrow was concentrating on reading, a sinister voice suddenly sounded. Night Sorrow heard it and looked back, only to find that there were two people. One was Meng He, and the other was Zhu Qingxian. He immediately sneered. "You came at the right time." Chapter 33:28. Haha, you're a star master who can't even protect a planet. Where did you get your confidence from? Meng He burst into laughter when he heard Night Sorrow's words. He and Zhu Qingxian had Huang Ji and Si Ming as their backup. They were not afraid of Night Sorrow at all. Moreover, both of their strengths had increased recently. Their confidence was inflated. Although they knew that they were no match for Night Sorrow in a one-on-one battle, they felt that Night Sorrow had no chance of winning in a two-on-one battle. After all, they had fought in an open battlefield before. They had only managed to escape because Jie Lin had appeared. What are you two trash talking about? Did you follow Baron Thorn to my night demon planet to cause trouble? Night Sorrow was already enraged by the destruction of Night Demon Planet's palace and the injury of his friend. Now that the two of them were here, how could he not be angry? He scolded them coldly. Meng He and Zhu Qingxian were confident in themselves. He was also confident that he would win. Who gave you the courage to call us trash? Meng He asked angrily when he heard Night Sorrow's words. Zhu Qingxian sneered. Meng He, why are you angry with a star master who doesn't even dare to return to his planet after his palace was destroyed? We could just take care of trash like him. You're right, Meng He replied and looked at Night Sorrow. Since you think we're trash, do you dare to fight with us in the decisive battle platform? His words were naturally a provocation to Yi Shang, to make him agree to fight one against two. Hearing this, Yi Shang naturally understood what they meant. He said disdainfully, "Didn't you look down on me as a Star Master? Why do you want to fight me in a two-on-one battle?" Although that was what he said, it was exactly what he wanted. Although Killer Heaven Academy did not forbid students from fighting, they could not simply fight in the Star Hall where the rules were strict. If they wanted to fight, they had to go to the decisive battle platform. He felt that it would save him a lot of trouble to take care of both of them at once. So what if we look down on you? If you have the guts, fight with us. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Meng He continued to provoke him. Although Zhu Qingxian didn't say anything, she looked at Night Sorrow with a mocking gaze. Their goal was to provoke Night Sorrow into accepting their challenge. 2 against 1 to eliminate Night Sorrow. If you have the guts, why don't you challenge me one by one? Hearing their words, Night Sorrow sneered and mocked. 2 old birds who have been in the endless sea of stars for many years don't even have the courage to challenge a new student. In front of him, Meng He and Zhu Qingxian were clearly prepared to fight him, so he was not in a hurry. The 2 of us have already given you a chance to take revenge by challenging you to a duel. Otherwise, how would you have the chance to face the enemy who crushed your friend's bones? If we were on Night Demon Planet, I'm afraid you wouldn't even have the chance to fight 1 against 2. After Night Sorrow finished, Zhu Qingxian sneered and said. As soon as he finished speaking, Meng He continued to provoke him. Those friends of yours are really tough. It feels good to pinch them. Beatrice starred. Knight Sorrow knew that the two of them were deliberately provoking him, but when he heard what they said, the anger in his heart still rose. He looked at the two of them coldly and said, "I agree to fight with you, but since it's a duel, there must be something. What do you want to bet with me?" "Ha, we can bet anything. After all, you don't have the chance to win." Meng He originally didn't want to bet anything. He just wanted to kill Knight Sorrow in a duel. When he heard what Meng He said, his interest was piqued. Zhu Qingxian said, "I think the coffin in your hand is pretty good. Why don't we use our half-step to supreme-class divine artifacts to bet on your ancient coffin? What do you think?" The two of them had basically figured out what Knight Sorrow had. They felt that the ancient coffin was the most precious item, so they wanted to bet on the ancient coffin. "Your bet is Long Tianzhou and the Purple Snow Glaze Cup?" After Zhu Qingxian finished speaking, Knight Sorrow asked. "Of course." Zhu Qingxian confirmed and said provocatively, "1 against 2. Do you dare?" "Huh, why wouldn't I dare to face 2 pieces of trash like you?" Yishang mocked disdainfully before he continued, "I feel that your wager is lacking in spirit, so I'm going to add something else." "Oh, you want to add something to the bet?" Ha. We are willing. What do we have to agree to?" "You can add anything you want." When Zhu Qingxian heard Knight Sorrow's words, he immediately laughed hysterically. Meng He's original goal was to lure Knight Sorrow into a duel. They didn't expect to gain something. "It's simple. I'll use Knight Demon Star to bet on Meng He and Qingxian Star. Do you dare to bet?" Knight Sorrow said coldly. No one in the courtyard had ever mentioned this bet before. It was definitely a huge bet. Hearing this, even a few elders in the Star Hall turned their attention to them. It was not rare to have a duel in the Star Hall. However, they had never seen a bet on a star before. Naturally, they were very curious. Meng He and Zhu Qingxian discussed for a while under the watchful eyes of the elders. They then said in unison, "Let's bet. There's nothing we don't dare to bet on. However, you have Knight Demon Star. It's not easy for the two of us to split it. If you add Jilin Star, we'll agree to your bet." "All right. However, if the bet is 1-on-1, then the two of you will fight me separately. You can't take all the good things." Knight Sorrow looked at Meng He and Zhu Qingxian and said word by word, "What do you think?" After Knight Sorrow said that, Meng He looked at Zhu Qingxian. At this moment, he suddenly felt that Knight Sorrow had a certain amount of confidence and was somewhat lacking in confidence. "What do you think? Let's bet." Knight Demon Star is an unmined star. No matter how we look at it, it's still a win for us. Zhu Qingxian replied without hesitation. "All right, we'll bet with you." The bet is as we said. When Meng He heard Zhu Qingxuan's words, he didn't hesitate anymore. He immediately agreed. Words are no guarantee. Let's sign a contract. As Knight Sorrow spoke, he took out a contract from the space and let Meng He and Zhu Qingxian sign it. At this time, a white-bearded, purple-robed elder from Star Hall said with a smile, "It's rare to see such an interesting bet. I'll be the one to sign the contract. My Star Hall's contract can only be exchanged with 100 star points. It's much more binding than your own contract. Once you sign it, you won't regret it." "Thank you very much, Elder. Here are 100 star points. Please keep them well." When Knight Sorrow heard the purple-robed elder's words, he immediately took back the contract and handed over his star token to the other party to collect the star points. Since it's a gift from me, I naturally won't collect the star points. Take out this contract and use it. However, I suggest that you don't sign a life and death contract. After all of you are geniuses of the central courtyard. The higher-ups don't want any of you to die." The purple-robed elder said with a smile as he pushed Knight Sorrow's star token back to him. Chapter 33:29. Although the purple-robed elder had a smile on his face, his tone gave people a feeling that there was no room for doubt. Obviously, he would not allow anyone to die in today's battle. In fact, it made sense. There were only 33 talented Star Lords in the middle of the Star Ocean. If someone died in every duel, few Star Lords in the infinite sea of stars would be able to grow up. After hearing what he said, Knight Sorrow understood what was going on. He knew that the purple-robed elder was not only here to watch the show, but also to preside over the battle and prevent anyone from dying. Therefore, he said, "Then let's do as the elder says. We only care about winning or losing, not life or death. As for the outcome, please help us witness it." "Good. No problem. With me here, no one can go back on their word today." The purple-robed elder looked at Knight Sorrow and said. Then he looked at Meng He and Zhu Qingxian and said, "What do you two think? Since the elder has spoken, we will spare his life. However, if he can't even protect his star body as a Star Lord, he will be too ashamed to stay in the Star Ocean." After the purple-robed elder finished speaking, Meng He said confidently. In his eyes, Knight Sorrow was the fish that had taken a bait, and he and Zhu Qingxian were the choppers on the chopping board. "What about you?" At this time, the purple-robed elder asked Zhu Qingxian. "Brother Meng's opinion is my opinion," Zhu Qingxian said and continued. "Since the elder wants to preside over the battle, how about you open the battle platform for us personally?" "Of course. However, both of you need to sign the contract first." The purple-robed elder stroked his white beard and said, "That's great." After the purple-robed elder finished speaking, Zhu Qingxian immediately signed her name on the contract and dripped her blood. Then she sent a voice transmission to Meng He. "Today's battle is 2 against 1, which is a bit disgraceful. However, we still need to invite Boss Baronthorn and Boss Siming. I will send a voice transmission to them." "Okay, you inform them. I will sign the contract." Meng He replied and left his name on the contract like Zhu Qingxian. After that, Knight Sorrow signed his name on the contract without hesitation. After the three of them signed their names, the purple-robed elder said with a smile, "I will bring you to the battle platform to familiarize yourself. During this time, you can invite your friends to watch the battle. It's not very lively with just the three of you." In fact, the purple-robed elder did this to protect them. After all, it was very likely that one would be seriously injured in a duel. If they gathered their friends, they would be able to receive treatment immediately. "Oh, that's good. Just in time for them to come over and see how I avenge him." After hearing the purple-robed elder's words, Knight Sorrow immediately sent a voice transmission to Meng He. He told Meng He Xian Meng He Thorn, and asked he Meng He Meng, and Meng He Meng He. Meng? Wasn't this a little too rash? Meng He Meng to Meng He Meng. Knight Sorrow's talent was one of the best in the endless sea of stars. However, he was only a lower heavenly sovereign, while Meng He and Zhu Qingxian were both outstanding upper heavenly sovereigns. Knight Sorrow should be able to win 1 against 1, but 1 against 2, that would be a different story. She immediately found Whirling Woman and the others and said, "Everyone, let's interrupt your recovery. The Night Demon is currently gambling with someone else on the battle platform with the enemy who injured you. Let me take you there." "What? Brother Yi is betting with someone? Could we trouble Miss Jielin to bring us there?" Bai Mei Sanren immediately said when he heard that Knight Sorrow was betting with someone. The others' reactions were similar to Bai Mei Sanren's. Then, under Jielin's lead, they arrived at the battle arena. At this time, there were already over 100 spectators gathered on the battle stage. These spectators were Huang Ji, Si Ming, Meng He, and Zhu Qingxuan subordinates. At this time, they were standing behind Meng He and Zhu Qingxian, cheering them on. There was no one behind Knight Sorrow, and it looked very deserted. "Brother Knight, I'm here to help you." Seeing that there was no one behind Knight Sorrow, which formed a strong contrast with the opposite side, Bai Mei Sanren immediately shouted. However, his voice was too soft and was directly drowned out by the cheers of the other party. "Master, I'll fight with you." At this time, the chaotic heavenly crystal beast suddenly enlarged its body and stood there roaring wildly. It jumped directly onto the stage. He had never called him Master before because he was friends with Yishang. However, Knight Sorrow was fighting 1 against 2, so he could not just watch. "Chaos, you're still injured. so don't force yourself. I'm still confident in dealing with these two pieces of trash. Night Sorrow used the sea serpent's eye to observe the chaotic heavenly crystal beast and found that although his cultivation had advanced to the level of upper heavenly sovereign, there were several injuries on his body that had not recovered yet. We're betting on a battle, so why are you here to fill in the mess? Didn't you get beaten up enough last time? Seeing the chaotic heavenly crystal beast appear on the battle stage, Menghe immediately provoked unhappily. At this time, the purple-robed elder said, "This is Night Demon's battle pet, and I can feel the connection between them. Night Demon is betting with you, so there's nothing wrong with him going on stage." Battle pet? So that's how it is. Well, then both of you will be tortured together. Menghe immediately understood what was going on when he heard the purple-robed elder's words. He smiled coldly. At this time, Huang Jie, who was sitting at the side of the stage, sized up the chaotic heavenly crystal beast and said, "I didn't notice it last time, but this battle pet is a little interesting. Both of you help me get it." "Yes." Senior brother Huang Jie. Menghe and Zhu Qingxian replied in unison when they heard Huang Jie's words. "Are you Huang Jie or Arbiter of Fate?" Night Sorrow looked at Huang Jie coldly and asked in return, "You don't deserve to know my name." Huang Jie replied disdainfully when he saw Night Sorrow looking at him with killing intent. "Do you think I'm not worthy? Very well, I'll challenge you in the next round." Night Sorrow looked at Huang Jie and said, "Then send a voice transmission to the chaotic heavenly crystal beast. You haven't recovered yet. Enter the Eternal Divine Tower immediately. You're not needed in the current battle." "All right then." The chaotic heavenly crystal beast still listened to Night Sorrow's words. It immediately entered the Eternal Divine Tower obediently. At this moment, Night Sorrow turned to look at Dancing Lady and the others and said, "From now on, I will help you take revenge bit by bit. We believe in you." Dancing Lady knew that Night Sorrow was ready to be ruthless and looked at Meng, He, and Zhu Qingxian sympathetically. Bai Mei Sanrun, Marquis Lang, and the others had similar looks. They had absolute confidence in Night Sorrow. Chapter 33:30. Shameless Boasting. You want to challenge Senior Brother Huang Ji? Ignorant people are truly fearless. Hearing that Night Sorrow wanted to challenge Huang Ji, Meng He immediately murmured. Meng He immediately said with disdain, and then said with killing intent, "You'd better get past me and Qingxian first. Although we can't kill you, we'll definitely cripple you today." After that, he sent a voice transmission to Zhu Qingxian. "Don't delay any longer, lest Senior Brother Huang Ji gets angry." "All right, let's test his strength first, then we'll use our trump card," Zhu Qingxian replied. Then, she started to move towards Night Sorrow. At the same time, Meng He also moved. He and Zhu Qingxian were like two corners of a triangle, constantly moving towards Night Sorrow. Although the two of them did not attack, Night Sorrow immediately calmed down. After all, it was 1 against 2. He knew that he could not afford to be careless. Attack! When they were about 10,000 feet away from Night Sorrow, Zhu Qingxian suddenly shouted. Then, she took out a vase-shaped artifact from the space and smashed it towards Night Sorrow's position. The artifact looked similar to the purple snow glazed cup. However, it was obviously a one-time use replica. When it got close to Night Sorrow, it exploded. The power of the explosion was very strong. After the artifact exploded, Zhu Qingxian summoned a lotus seat. After being summoned, the lotus seat flew into the sky and shone with thousands of rays of light. Night Sorrow, who had just dodged the explosion, was enveloped by the light. Suddenly, he felt his legs go weak, and he almost knelt on the ground. "It's working. Let's go." When he saw Night Sorrow, he seemed to be unable to stand properly. Zhu Qingxian immediately shouted, "I've been preparing for this for a long time." At this time, Meng He took out a divine artifact that looked very similar to Long Tianzhou and stepped on it to increase his speed. Then, he used a Heavenly Supreme level war halberd to slash at Night Sorrow. When Meng He used the war halberd to attack, Zhu Qingxian took out a folding fan and spun it towards Night Sorrow. Moreover, he began to form hand seals, preparing for a long-range attack. The two of you aren't very strong, but your teamwork is very good. Facing Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's attacks, Night Sorrow frowned and said. He then took out his golden heavenly halberd and unleashed the azure profound divine spear art. With the help of the 9 steps of heaven defying, he used the golden heavenly halberd to send Meng He and Zhu Qingxian flying. This is a half-step supreme class divine artifact. Be careful. Seeing Night Sorrow take out a half-step to supreme class divine weapon, Huang Ji, who was watching from the side, immediately reminded him. I didn't expect you to have a new half-step supreme class divine artifact so soon. Meng He, who was sent flying, stared at the golden heavenly halberd in Night Sorrow's hand in disbelief. In the previous battle, the golden heavenly halberd in Night Sorrow's hand was a heavenly sovereign divine artifact. Who would have thought that in such a short period of time, he would rise to the level of a half-step to the supreme realm? His divine weapon has leveled up. Let's be careful and use a half-step supreme class divine artifact. Seeing the golden heavenly halberd in Night Sorrow's hand, Zhu Qingxian reminded Meng He. At the same time, he took out the purple snow glaze cup and floated it on his shoulder, attacking Night Sorrow. Last time, your divine artifact didn't have any effect. This time will be the same. Facing Zhu Qingxuan's purple snow-glazed cup, Night Sorrow roared fearlessly and once again used the golden heavenly halberd to attack. He directly dispersed the purple snow-glazed cup that was emitted by it. Bastard! The purple snow-glazed cup is actually useless? Seeing Night Sorrow's attack on the purple snow-glazed cup with one move, Zhu Qingxian said in disbelief. He took out the half-step supreme class divine artifact, the Ru Yizhong Bell, and charged towards Night Sorrow. However, it was easily dodged. At the same time, Meng He used the Dragon Sky ship. This time, the Dragon Sky ship was refined by Andrew, and its speed was much faster. Moreover, it had the ability to attack. Once he steered it, he continuously shot arrows at Yi Shang's position from the side of the Dragon Sky boat. These arrows were all at the half-step supreme class. They were very sharp and had the ability to automatically pursue. After Meng, he drove the Dragon Sky ship and shot out about 1,000 arrows. A dragon's roar suddenly came from the void. Then, the arrows that were chasing after Night Sorrow in the void all transformed into dragons. You made progress. No wonder you're confident that you can defeat me. However, using such an attack is simply sending yourself to death. Seeing Meng He use such a method, Night Sorrow sneered and used the Supreme Dragon Subduing Technique. After he used the Supreme Dragon Subduing Technique, a huge Kuan Peng immediately appeared in the void. After the Kuan Peng appeared, it immediately swallowed the arrows that had turned into dragons in the void. The way he swallowed was like a giant whale in the vast ocean, opening its mouth and swallowing thousands of small fish. Without any effort, it swallowed all the arrows shot out by the Dragon Sky ship. Then, the Kuan Peng opened its mouth and tried to swallow the Dragon Sky ship. But at this time, it was almost exhausted and directly disappeared in the void. That was close. Just now, when the Kuan Peng tried to swallow the Dragon Sky ship, Meng He felt a strong sense of fear. Brother Meng, don't be afraid. After all, the two of us are fighting side by side. At this time, Zhu Qingxian comforted him and used the Rui Bell again to charge at Night Sorrow. His strongest technique was his left hand, but with the previous battle experience, he did not dare to use it casually before the ancient coffin appeared. He was afraid of losing another hand. This time, the Rui Bell that was charging at Night Sorrow was obviously different from before. When Night Sorrow faced it, he felt that he was locked in place and had a feeling that he could not avoid it. This divine artifact has also been strengthened. When Night Sorrow came to his senses, he immediately understood that the Rui Bell was the same as the Dragon Sky ship. They had both been strengthened. After hesitating for a moment, he suddenly activated the Treastrimsa Battle Mystic technique and activated the Green Phoenix armor. He waved his left palm and directly slapped at the Rui bell. Bastard. He is learning from me. He knows that my left palm is powerful. Seeing Knight Sorrow use his left palm to attack the Rui bell, Zhu Qingxian immediately shouted in anger. What surprised him even more was that Knight Sorrow was not pushed back by the strengthened Rui bell. Instead, he sent the Rui bell flying. He immediately roared, "That's impossible. Could it be that his attack is at the level of half-step to Supreme Realm? Don't be agitated. It should be the armor on his body that has given him a certain amount of help. If each of his attacks has the strength of half-step to Supreme Realm, then we will definitely lose today. But that's impossible. How can a lower Heavenly Supreme have the combat strength of half-step to Supreme Realm?" Seeing that Zhu Qingxian had lost his composure, Meng He immediately comforted him. Then, he transmitted his voice, "We can't go on like this. Let's use the divine artifacts that we borrowed from the two bosses." When Zhu Qingxian heard this, he glanced at Knight Sorrow and said, "That's the only way." Chapter 33-31. As Zhu Qingxian recovered Meng He, a trace of uneasiness flashed through her heart. Because in the previous battle, Knight Sorrow had relied on that strange ancient coffin to gain the upper hand. This time, not only did he not take out the ancient coffin, he did not even use the eternal divine tower and easily suppressed the two of them. This feeling made her very depressed. She secretly said, "Fortunately, the two of us have the life artifacts of Senior Brother Huang Ji and Senior Brother Si Ming. Prepare to die." While Zhu Qingxian was thinking, Meng He had already summoned a large black cauldron and smashed it towards Knight Sorrow. Not good. Night Demon. Be careful, this is Huang Ji's life artifact. Half-step to extreme state artifact, Wan Jun's Source Chi Cauldron. Its power is very terrifying. Seeing Meng, he summoned Huang Ji's life artifact, Wan Jun's Source Chi Cauldron. Jielin immediately sent a voice transmission to Knight Sorrow, reminding him to be careful. No wonder they are so confident. It turns out that they have obtained someone else's life artifact. But don't worry, life artifacts are things like life artifacts. Only when the person controls them can they erupt with the strongest combat power. When Meng He uses it, it shouldn't be that terrifying. Knight Sorrow sent a voice transmission to Jielin and directly activated the Destruction Divine ability. When the Wanjun Source Chi Cauldron smashed over, he increased his speed and prepared to dodge it. However, this Wanjun Source Chi Cauldron was clearly very intelligent. It actually quickly chased after Knight Sorrow in the void. At the same time, Zhu Qingxian also borrowed the Qingquan Hidden Sword from Si Ming and shot it towards Knight Sorrow. This Qingquan Hidden Sword was a green sword that looked like a bamboo joint. Its speed was very fast. After being shot out, it chased after Knight Sorrow together with a Wanjun Source Chi Cauldron. Facing the pursuit of the two divine artifacts, Knight Sorrow used 9 heaven-defying steps to dodge. Knight Sorrow, who could not use the ancient coffin and eternal divine tower, was completely enraged. He immediately burned his Phoenix bloodline, Jielin bloodline, and Liken bloodline. After the 3 bloodlines were burned, Knight Sorrow's aura suddenly increased qualitatively. He gave off the feeling that he was half a step into the Supreme Realm. After his aura stabilized, Knight Sorrow used the Golden Heavenly Halberd to fight against the Myriad June Source Chi Cauldron and Universe Hidden Sword. Although these two divine weapons were not Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's natal divine weapons, they were still very powerful when they were used. However, it also tied up their energy. While Knight Sorrow was fighting against the two divine weapons, the two of them stood still and did not use any other attacks. This kid is not ordinary. It seemed like Meng He and Zhu Qingxian were right. He could not be allowed to live. He had to kill them as soon as possible. Otherwise, if we let him grow, we won't be able to survive in the endless sea of stars. Seeing that Knight Sorrow was able to fight against Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's two divine artifacts, they were shocked. Baron Thorn, who was watching from the sidelines, immediately said maliciously. At the same time, He remembered Knight Sorrow's words. If Knight Sorrow could win this battle, he would definitely challenge him. He had already started to think about how he could quickly suppress Knight Sorrow. Judging from the combat strength that Knight Sorrow had displayed, even he might be able to defeat him. Yes, this Night Demon is too big of a threat. We can't let him grow. Even if it means breaking some rules, we have to kill him. Ximing's face was also a little serious. He was no longer as carefree as before. He could feel that if Knight Sorrow advanced another 1 or 2 cultivation stages, he and Baron Thorn would be easily defeated. The sense of superiority in his heart had been completely shattered. The purple-robed elder who was watching from the sidelines saw the battle and could not help but nod his head. Obviously, he recognized Knight Sorrow's ability. Then, he sent a voice transmission to Jielin. This kid is very close to you. Is he also one of Ji Xian's men? Teacher Ji Xian recommended Night Demon to enter the middle court. Jielin immediately replied when he heard the voice transmission. She knew that the purple-robed elder had a high status in Star Hall. Therefore, she did not dare to hide it from him. Okay, I got it. As the purple-robed elder replied, he began to think about how to improve his relationship with Knight Sorrow. This was because he could see that Knight Sorrow had the aura of a supreme supremacy in the battle. There were less than 5 cultivators in the endless sea of stars who had such an aura. In the future, if he did not die unexpectedly, Knight Sorrow would definitely grow into another overlord in the endless sea of stars. He would not have to rely on others like other cultivators. Jielin, Baimei Sanrun, and the others were very worried about Knight Sorrow. This was because the 2 divine weapons controlled by Meng He and Zhu Qingxian gave off a very dangerous feeling. There was a powerful aura that could destroy the heavens and earth. Moreover, Knight Sorrow was indeed having a hard time fighting against it. He had been hit several times in a row. Fortunately, Knight Sorrow had the Leakin bloodline and his recovery ability was very strong. As the battle progressed, his injuries healed on their own. After being suppressed by the Wanjun Source Chi Cauldron and the Qian Kuan Sleeve Sword for an hour, Knight Sorrow gradually found that Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's divine souls were not strong enough. In a situation where their divine souls were not strong enough, the 2 of them were still controlling the 2 divine weapons. However, the power of the Wanjun Source Chi Cauldron and the Qian Kuan Sleeve Sword had decreased. If the power of the Wanjun Source Chi Cauldron and the Qian Kuan Sleeve Sword had decreased a little, I would have a chance to use the Nirvana Heart Flame. As long as I can successfully use it, the 2 of them will definitely lose. In the process of continuing to fight against the 2 divine weapons, Knight Sorrow secretly thought. Compared to the worried Baimei, Sanrin, and the others, his confidence was very strong. This confidence mainly came from the powerful recovery ability of the Leakin bloodline. As the battle progressed, not only did the injuries on his body recover, but his divine origin force and divine soul power were also constantly recovering. Moreover, the backlash from the destruction divine ability did not appear at all and was dissolved by the Leakin bloodline. This feeling was very mysterious. It made Knight Sorrow feel that even if he fought continuously for 10 days and 10 nights, he would still be able to maintain his peak state. This was an incomparably horrifying ability. The 3 people fighting until now, Huang Jie at the sidelines, similarly saw through Knight Sorrow's aura. It was completely different from Meng He and Zhu Qingxian. He said in shock, "Not good. This Night Devil fought for so long and did not consume any medicinal pills, but his aura did not weaken at all. At this rate, Meng He and Zhu Qingxian definitely can't hold on. This battle they lost." Oh, is that so? Hearing this, Arbiter started to observe the battle on the field seriously. Only then did he say in surprise, "It's really like this. How'd he do it?" "No way. He possesses this kind of ability. Even I'm not his match either. If he issues a challenge to me in a while, whether I accept or not, it will be very uncomfortable. I'll leave first today." After observing for a while more, Huang Jie completely confirmed that Knight Sorrow practically did not expend any divine essence energy when fighting. Recalling Knight Sorrow's words of preparing to challenge him, he quietly left the decisive battlefield. Seeing Huang Jie's departing figure in his eyes, the purple-robed elder could not help shaking his head. Chapter 33-32. Combined with the conversation between Knight Sorrow and Baron Thorn before the battle, the purple-robed elder who watched Baron Thorn leave felt that Baron Thorn was too cowardly. Escaping under such circumstances was even more humiliating than losing the battle. However, this was Baron Thorn's territory, so he naturally did not stop him. After he left, the purple-robed elder's gaze once again locked onto Knight Sorrow and the other two who were in the midst of the battle. At this moment, Knight Sorrow was becoming more and more skillful in the battle. He felt like his face was glowing with health. As for Meng He and Zhu Qingxian, who were controlling the two divine weapons, their bodies were already drenched in sweat as they floated in the air. It was obvious that the battle was extremely tough, and they could not hold on any longer. From the purple-robed elder's point of view, the battle had already reached a conclusion. The only suspense was when the battle would end. Seeing Baron Thorn escape, Jielin transmitted his voice to Knight Sorrow. "Night Devil, Baron Thorn has left. You'd better quickly end the battle in front of you. I'm afraid that he will go to your Night Devil Star to cause trouble." "All right, this battle will end very soon," Knight Sorrow replied to Jielin, and then glanced at the side of the battlefield, just in time to see Baron Thorn's back. Then, he found an opportunity to use the Nirvana Heart Fire. Using this move, he attacked Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's divine souls. At this moment, Meng He and Zhu Qingxuan's energy was all on the Wanjun Source Chi Cauldron and the Qian Kuan Hidden Sword. Facing Knight Sorrow's Nirvana Heart Fire, the Divine Origin Trap Array, and the 100 Words Mantra, how could they resist? The two of them were directly injured and fell from the sky. When the two of them fell to the ground, the Wanjun Source Chi Cauldron and the Qian Kuan Hidden Sword that had lost control also stopped. They landed on the ground. "Amazing! We won!" Seeing this scene, Hasa Woman and Su Lei shouted at the same time. They were happy for Knight Sorrow. Needless to say, white-browed wanderer Marquis Lang and the others were almost jumping up and down. Jielin's gaze was a little strange. This was because she realized that Knight Sorrow's battle prowess had increased by a large margin not long after he left. This made her feel somewhat powerless, and she felt that she could no longer keep up with his footsteps. Damn it, he actually lost. Meng He, who had fallen to the ground and was unable to get up at all, shouted unwillingly. However, he didn't even have the strength to get up, so he naturally understood that he was powerless to reverse the situation. Zhu Qingxian, who was originally very arrogant, was the same. Her entire person was like a frosted eggplant, completely wilting. Lying on the ground, he did not move at all. He did not even have the face to raise his head. The cultivators who came to support them all sighed in disappointment. Under such circumstances, Knight Sorrow looked at the purple-robed elder and said, "Elder, now that the battle has reached this point, can you announce my victory?" "Huh, the two of them have already lost their ability to fight, so of course you win." The violet-robed elder gazed at Knight Sorrow and said, "You can collect the spoils now." What he meant was naturally to have Knight Sorrow put away the 30,000 June Source Chi Cauldron and the Universe Hidden Sword. Killing people was out of the question, but seizing treasures was possible. "Thank you for the reminder, Elder." Hearing this, Knight Sorrow immediately understood and kept the 30,000 June Source Chi Cauldron, the Universe Hidden Sword, the Rui Bell, the Long Tianzhou, and the Purple Snow Glaze Cup into the Eternal Divine Tower. "Huh, we're rich this time. Which one can we absorb?" Little Five immediately asked excitedly after keeping the 5 half-step Paramount Realm Divine artifacts into the Eternal Divine Tower. In the battle to destroy the altar, the Eternal Divine Tower had expended too much energy, and now it didn't have any energy to participate at all. This was also the reason why it couldn't help Knight Sorrow during the battle. At this moment, it was naturally very excited to keep so many half-step Paramount Realm Divine artifacts. The 30,000 June Source Chi Cauldron, the Universe Hidden Sword, and the Long Tianzhou are not bad. You can keep them. As for the other two, you can absorb them as rations. Night Sorrow said, and let Little Five absorb the Rui Bell and the purple snow glaze cup. However, at this moment, the purple-robed elder suddenly said, Night Demon, let me remind you of something. Half-step Paramount Realm Divine artifacts can be exchanged for star points in the Star Hall, and the amount of star points that can be exchanged is not low. Oh, there's such a thing? Thank you for the reminder, Elder. Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately smiled. Now, he didn't lack any half-step Paramount Realm Divine artifacts at all. He could use them to exchange for some star points, and then use the star points to buy other useful things. Let me remind you again, the 30,000 June Source Chi Cauldron and the Universe Hidden Sword are Huang Jie and Si Ming's natal divine artifacts. You may not be afraid of the two of them, but the people behind them, you can't afford to offend them now. So these two divine artifacts, you can't keep them at all. You might as well use them to exchange for star points. As for the Long Tianzhou, it doesn't matter. After Night Sorrow thanked him, the purple-robed elder reminded him again. As one of the elders with real power in the Star Hall, he naturally knew some things about the endless sea of stars. He knew that Huang Jie and Si Ming had backers. Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately said, Elder, how can these two items be exchanged for star points? Very simple. Go to the 5th level of the Star Hall. After the purple-robed elder finished speaking, he continued, I have to remind you of something. If you want to use the divine artifacts to exchange for star points, then hurry up. When I saw Huang Jie leave, his face was full of viciousness. It might be detrimental to your star body. Thank you, Elder, for your reminder. May I know Elder's name? If they have the chance, Night Devil will definitely repay them. The purple-robed elder's words immediately reminded Night Sorrow of Jielin's words. He immediately started to worry for Night Devil Star. My name is Purple Beard. Go and do your thing. After Purple Beard finished speaking, he took the contract between Meng Hexing and Qing Xian Star from the two of them and handed it to Night Sorrow. At the same time, he urged him, since he had achieved his goal of befriending Night Sorrow, he immediately left and didn't have much contact with him. At the same time that Purple Beard left, Night Sorrow used his blood to sign the contract with Meng Hexing and Qing Xian Star. Then, after greeting Baimei Senrin and the others, he transmitted his voice to Jielin. Bring my friend back to Jielin Star. I need to return to Night Devil Star immediately. You have to be careful. Although Huang Jie escaped, he's not that easy to deal with. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Jielin immediately knew what he was going to do and immediately warned him. Don't worry. I have confidence in dealing with him. After saying this, Night Sorrow immediately looked for a starship and rushed back to his Night Devil Star. He didn't even exchange for star points. While Night Sorrow was rushing to Night Devil Star, Jielin brought many of Night Sorrow's friends onto another starship and rushed towards Jielin Star. But they had just left the Star Hall not long ago. Chapter 33:33. Who's there? Come out, you coward! Seeing that the starship was stopped and no one came out, Jielin shouted. In fact, she had already guessed the identity of the person before he appeared. Baron Thorn might have gone to Night Demon Planet to wreak havoc, and Meng He and Zhu Qingxian were almost crippled. The most likely person to stop her was Si Ming and his subordinates. As it turned out, her guess was right. The people who had stopped the starship were Si Ming and his subordinates. Si Ming walked out of the starship slowly and stood on the deck. He looked at Jielin coldly and said, I don't want to fight today. Take your friend with you and come with me. His main target was obviously Yishang's friends. His goal was naturally to use these people to trade for his Qinkuan hidden sword. At the same time, he wanted to extort something from Night Sorrow. What if I say that I don't want to go with you? Jielin stood on the starship and looked at Si Ming coldly. She was helping Night Sorrow protect his friends. If she was threatened by Si Ming, she would surrender immediately. That would be too shameful. If you don't want to come with me, my men and I will have to use force. Once we leave Star Hall, there will be no restrictions. Be careful, I will kill you. After Jialin finished speaking, Ming immediately said maliciously, "If I remember correctly, your Qian hidden blade is with Night's Sorrow. You are just a toothless tiger now. You might not be stronger than me." Jialin looked at Ming coldly. At the same time, he sent a voice transmission to Night's Sorrow to tell him what was happening. "What? Ming brought his men to stop you. I will go there immediately." At this moment, Night Sorrow was on a starship heading to Night Demon Planet. This starship belonged to the Academy and could not change its course as it pleased. He had to reach Night Demon Planet first, return to Star Hall, and then head to Jialin Planet. Only then would he be able to meet Jialin and the others. I'm just telling you that I might not be able to stop Ming, but I will try my best. By the time you get here, the battle must have already ended. In my opinion, why don't you continue to go to Night Demon Planet to look for Baron Thorn? Even if we fall into Ming's hands, we still have a bargaining chip. Jialin naturally knew that based on the current situation, Night Sorrow wouldn't be able to make it in time. However, she would be able to face it safely after she finished talking about this matter. With that said, Jialin unleashed his god domain, facing Ming and the others. This was the rhythm of preparing for battle. "Huh, you really dare to attack us? Let me tell you, what you're doing will only bring disaster to yourself. Ming, will not let you go today." Seeing that Jialin really released his divine domain, Ming sneered and ordered, "Follow me and capture Jialin. Remember, I want to capture him alive. Then torture her. No one can kill him. Who dares to step onto this starship today? I must kill him." Jialin, who had completely unleashed his god domain, immediately took out the green chessboard. With Night Sorrow's help, she had been researching the uses of this divine weapon ever since she obtained it. A few days ago, she had finally mastered it completely. "With me here, who can you kill?" Hearing Jialin's domineering shout, her subordinates were more or less intimidated by his aura. Ming shouted in disdain. She took the lead and stepped onto Jialin's starship. It was only after Ming stepped onto the ship that his heavenly sovereign subordinates followed suit. On the huge starship, they approached Jialin step by step. Seeing Ming and the others approaching, Whirling Lady immediately said, "Let me out, I can fight." "Let me out too. I can fight too," Marquis Lang also said. His strength was slightly stronger than Whirling Lady's. However, he had been seriously injured by Ming and the others last time, and had yet to fully recover. However, in a head-on battle, he could still unleash a certain amount of combat strength. Although he couldn't defeat Ming, he should be able to contend with her subordinates. Then, Xin Yin also shouted, "I can fight too, let me out." "Huh, how can I, Ape Tian Lai, be left out of this battle? Let me out too." Ape Tian Lai, who was also injured, didn't want to be left behind. As for the others, they didn't speak. Firstly, they weren't strong enough, and secondly, they were more seriously injured. Even if they were summoned, they probably wouldn't be of much help. "Good, friends of the Night Demon, you are indeed very courageous. Then you will fight with me. Today, I will kill all these arrogant people here." With so many people stepping forward, Jialin, who had thought that he would be fighting alone, was suddenly moved. "Ha! You have taken care of us for so long. You are naturally our friend. Let us fight side by side." Ape Tianlai roared and looked at Ming and the others. "You want to capture us to threaten the Night Demon? You have a good plan, but I don't think you have that kind of strength." "Humph! How dare you, a bunch of shrimp soldiers and crab generals, speak so arrogantly in the endless sea of stars? Have you forgotten the pain back then?" Ming looked at Whirling Lady, Ape Tianlai, and the others and said disdainfully, "Today, I will avenge my friends. It was a mistake for you to step onto the starship today. Netherworld." At this time, Jialin roared and controlled the green chessboard to cover the surrounding space. Even the starship was transferred to the chessboard. When the starship was bound by the Netherworld, Jialin immediately controlled the chessboard to release a thick fog in the air. This aura was something that she and Night Sorrow had encountered in the ancient ruins. It required a very powerful eye technique to see through it. And Si Ming and the others in front of them did not have the eyesight of Whirling Lady or Night Sorrow. For a moment, they were completely lost in it. "Boss, what is going on?" Trapped in the fog, one of Si Ming's subordinates said with a trembling voice. He could not see anything around him, which made him feel very insecure. "We must have been trapped by Jie Lin's divine weapon. Don't panic and don't move. I will think of a way to break it." They could not see anything in front of them. Si Ming felt that if they walked here, they would definitely panic. He ordered everyone to stop while he took out a broken spear. This broken spear's aura was very terrifying. It was even stronger than Night Sorrow's golden heavenly halberd. After Si Ming took out the broken spear, he activated it with his divine essence and stabbed it at the chessboard under his feet. Wong! After Si Ming used the broken spear to hit the chessboard, the entire space shook. At the same time, it also damaged Jie Lin's green chessboard. However, he did not use this attack to break open the space. Jie Lin, who discovered this, immediately said to everyone, they should not be able to break open the netherworld for a while. This is our chance to win. Follow me and kill. Chapter 33-34. Good. We'll follow you. However, I can't see anything in this space. After hearing Jie Lin's voice transmission, Yuan Tianlai responded helplessly. "Pasua, use your eye technique to fight. Everyone else, listen to my command." Jie Lin naturally knew that Ape Tianlai and the others were unable to see through the fog. After he spoke, he began to command everyone to move. Whirling Woman, on the other hand, had a good eye technique. She could see through the fog in front of her. After using her eye technique, Hasa discovered that Jie Lin had summoned the chessboard from the deck of the starship. Everyone was trapped inside. If Si Ming and the others hadn't boarded the ship, they probably wouldn't have been trapped by the netherworld. At this moment, she suddenly understood that Jie Lin's threat to kill whoever boarded the ship was actually a provocation. He looked at Si Ming and the others and said, "You brought this upon yourselves." On the other hand, Jie Lin commanded Yuan Tianlai, Xin Yin, and Marquis Lang to attack Si Ming and her subordinates. In the fog, Si Ming and the others were practically blind. Basically, they would only be able to sense it when everyone's attacks were close to them. As a result, he was hit many times in a row. Under such circumstances, Si Ming was completely driven mad. She kept smashing the chessboard with her broken spear. The netherworld was constantly being attacked. The netherworld was under constant attacks, and Jie Lin immediately transmitted a message to everyone. Si Ming's divine artifact is too powerful. The netherworld shouldn't be able to last much longer. Everyone, do your best to inflict heavy damage on them during this period of time. Otherwise, we won't have a good time. Good. Let's all use our strongest attacks. Hearing Jie Lin's words, Ape Tianlai and the others immediately took out their divine artifacts. They attacked Si Ming and the others. In the beginning, their target was Arbiter of Fate. However, after attacking a few times, they realized that Si Ming's defense was quite high, and their attacks were not very effective. Under such circumstances, Jie Lin said, "If everyone can kill the others quickly, I have a way to severely injure Si Ming." The method she was talking about was the attack she had used on the chess saint in the ancient ruins. Unleashing a skill of this level would exhaust all of Jie Lin's strength. Thus, he had to wait until Si Ming's subordinates were all killed before he could unleash the skill. This was to prevent her from being captured by Si Ming's subordinates after she ran out of spirit energy. We might not be able to kill Si Ming, but we should be able to deal with some small fries. Hearing this, Dancing Woman immediately used Descent of All Evil on Si Ming. Then he cast 1,000 illusion eyes at Si Ming's subordinates. He summoned 3,000 black holes and launched a series of attacks on them. At this moment, Jie Lin was preparing his strongest attack and had yet to make a move. However, it kept reminding everyone of Si Ming and the others' location. Following it, Yuan Tianlai, Xin Yin, and Marquis Wolf began to bombard Si Ming's subordinates, while they were temporarily suppressing Si Ming and the others. Night Sorrow's starship had also arrived at Night Devil Planet. After arriving at Night Devil Planet, Night Sorrow immediately rushed back to his palace and discovered that his palace had indeed been destroyed by Baron Thorn. As for Huang Ji, who had destroyed Night Demon Planet, he was sitting on his own starship, floating in the void near Night Demon Planet. He was looking at Night Sorrow provocatively. Night Sorrow realized that Baron Thorn was provoking him. Because he did not have his own starship, he could not attack Baron Thorn even if he wanted to. He boarded the starship again and prepared to go to the Star Hall to exchange a few half-step Supreme State Divine artifacts for star points, and then buy his own starship. At this moment, Baron Thorn sneered. "I know what you're going to do. Go to the Star Hall and buy a starship, and I will destroy all the buildings on Night Devil Planet, Menghe Planet, and Qingxian Planet. You could just wait to rebuild them. Bastard, after I buy the starship, I will destroy your Baron Thorn planet immediately." Hearing Baron Thorn's words, Night Sorrow was immediately enraged. He originally thought that Baron Thorn was going to cause trouble on Night Devil Planet. He did not expect him to include Menghe Planet and Qingxian Planet. "Huh, I'll wait for you." After Baron Thorn finished speaking, he steered the starship towards Menghe Planet. Night Sorrow, who knew what he was going to do, immediately shouted, "Baron Thorn, I will kill you." "With just you? You don't have that ability." Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Baron Thorn immediately replied in disdain. However, he still felt a little guilty. After all, Night Sorrow's ability and potential were extremely terrifying. After Baron Thorn steered the starship far away, Night Sorrow also rushed towards the Star Hall. Before Night Sorrow reached the Star Hall, Jialin sent a voice transmission. "Fortunately, I did not disappoint you. Fortunately, I didn't let you down. You defeated Arbiter?" Night Sorrow immediately asked in surprise after receiving Jielin's voice transmission. "Yes." Ximing was sealed by the green chessboard. Then she was hit by my strongest technique and was instantly killed. However, I've consumed too much energy and no longer have the ability to fight against the pirate skull. "Quickly come and help us," Jialin said helplessly. At this moment, she had consumed too much energy, and so did Dancing Lady and the others. Facing the pirate skull that was about to attack, there was nothing they could do. After hearing this, Night Sorrow, who had reached the Star Hall, no longer had the mood to exchange for star points. He immediately entered the coordinates of Jielin's planet on the starship and chased after them. About an hour later, he finally saw Jialin and the others who were attacked by the pirate skull. At this moment, Jialin, Dancing Lady, Ape Tianlai, Xin Yin, and Marquis Lang had already been gnawed by the pirate skull. Almost everyone's bones were exposed. They looked extremely ferocious. Seeing this scene, how could Night Sorrow endure it? He directly flew onto their starship and fought with the pirate skull. After a round of battle, the first wave of pirate skull was completely killed. After dealing with the pirate skull, Night Sorrow took out some pills and distributed them to the 5 of them. He told them to quickly consume them. At the same time, he cut his finger and dripped his blood on their wounds. He said, "My blood has the Leakin bloodline. Although 1 drop can't let you obtain the Leakin bloodline, it can help you recover faster." "Good. Thank you." Upon hearing this, Jialin said weakly, "No, I should be the one thanking you. This time, it's all thanks to you. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable." Friends were very important to Night Sorrow. If they were controlled, it would definitely be a nightmare. At this moment, Night Sorrow was very grateful to Jialin. After thinking for a moment, he took out some Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold and handed it to Jialin. He said, "Your offensive divine artifact is complete. Use this Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold to create a defensive battle armor. We are friends. There's no need to be so polite." Seeing Night Sorrow take out the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold, Jialin immediately declined. "Since we are friends, don't decline. I still have some here. Take these." Yishang immediately tried to persuade Jialin when he saw Jialin decline. After his and the others' persuasion, Jialin accepted these resources. After everyone arrived at Jielin's planet, Night Sorrow immediately brought them back to the Star Hall to exchange for their starship. Chapter 33-35. After what happened just now, Night Sorrow was not prepared to leave everyone on planet Jielin. Instead, he would keep them in his space, grotto heaven, and bring them with him. Only in this way would he no longer be on tenterhooks. Elder Purple Beard. As soon as he walked into the Star Hall, he saw the purple-robed elder pacing in the hall on the first floor. He immediately went forward and said, "Night Devil greets Elder Purple Beard. Hee, you came so quickly. You really exceeded my imagination. Has the problem been solved?" Purple Beard had already thought that Night Sorrow would attract the revenge of Baron Thorn and Arbiter after defeating Meng Shi and Zhu Qingxian in the gambling battle. However, he did not expect him to come to the Star Hall so quickly. This proved that he had already solved the problem. Hearing Elder Purple Beard's question, Night Sorrow smiled and said, "With the help of a friend, I was lucky enough to solve the problem." At this time, Night Sorrow thought of the matter of Arbiter being killed. So he asked, "Oh right, Elder, will you be punished for killing a Star-Lord in the endless sea of stars?" On the jade slip of Vice Principal Ji Xian, it recorded that he could not kill a Star-Lord in the middle of the courtyard. However, it did not say whether he would be punished or not. Night Sorrow really did not know. "What? Who did you kill?" Hearing this, Purple Beard immediately asked in surprise. "Arbiter intercepted the starship and attacked us. She has already been killed," Night Sorrow said slowly. This matter might have a lot of implications. He did not say Jielin's name. Jielin, who was in the space grotto heaven, naturally understood what was going on. He immediately sent a voice transmission. "Thank you." Night Sorrow replied, "It's still the same sentence. I should be the one thanking you. As for the follow-up, I won't push you out. If Arbiter took the initiative to find trouble with you in the endless sea of stars, then being killed is nothing. But she is Vice Principal Nangong's person. Vice Principal Nangong and Vice Principal Andrew are on good terms. They might do something about this matter. You have to be careful. Those two were the kind of people who would haggle over every little detail. Vice Principal Ji Xian might not be able to suppress them." After hearing this, Purple Beard immediately reminded Night Sorrow. His voice was very soft for the second half of his sentence. He was afraid that the walls might have ears. In fact, he was also a former student of Slaughter Academy. However, he was promoted to an elder after advancing to half-step Paramount Realm. Come to think of it, it was Vice Principal Ji Xian who had brought him here. "Thank you, Elder Zisu." Night Sorrow thanked him and asked, "Elder, I'll use a half-step to Supreme Class Divine Weapon to exchange for the star points. As you said, I can go straight to the 5th level." He also understood that Ximing's death was not easy to resolve. But for now, other than informing Vice Dean Ji Xian, he had no other choice. He decided not to think too much about it, and decided to get the item first. "Yes, go and change. Also, after you're done, hurry up and contact Vice Principal Ji Xian behind you. Let him help you deal with it." Vice Presidents Nangong and Andrew were both at the 4th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. Other than the 3 presidents, they were basically invincible. They were not to be trifled with. Don't treat them as ordinary half-step Supreme Realm cultivators. When facing them, one must show more respect. There must be no conflict. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Zisu reminded him in a low voice. Although the 3 vice presidents were the same as the elders and were all half-step Supreme Realm cultivators, there was still a difference in strength. 4th grade of half-step Supreme Realm? Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately asked in confusion, "Elder Zisu, half-step Supreme Realm is divided into grades." This was the first time he had heard of this matter, so he naturally wanted to know more. Although half-step Supreme Realm is only 1 step away from the Supreme Realm, it will trap most people in the world. The difference in strength between half-step Supreme Realm cultivators is very big. Therefore, it is divided into 5 grades. Each grade is similar to the difference between the lower and middle grades. Elder Zisu explained and continued. For example, I'm at the second grade of the half-step supreme realm, and among the geniuses in the endless sea of stars, the strongest is currently at the third grade of the half-step supreme realm. With your strength, you should be able to challenge the first grade of the half-step supreme realm. It will be very difficult to deal with the second grade. The third grade will definitely crush you. The 3 vice presidents can easily kill you in an instant. So that's how it is. Thank you for telling me, Elder. After hearing Zisu's words, Knight Sorrow thanked him immediately. He had thought about this in the past, but it was merely a guess. To think that half-step supreme realm was divided into grades. After thinking for a moment, he asked again, right, Elder Zisu, how are the grades divided? Or rather, how are they differentiated? That's a little complicated. You'll only be able to understand it after you enter half-step supreme realm. Generally speaking, it's just that the Tao runes of cultivators are different, similar to the growth rings of trees. Only half-step supreme realm cultivators can tell how many levels of Tao runes each other has. Elder Zisu said slowly. He was rather impressed with Knight's sorrow. Otherwise, he would not have said so much to him. Thank you, Elder. I'll take my leave now. After hearing that, Knight Sorrow thanked him once more before leading everyone from the spatial grotto heaven to level 5 of the Star Hall. Sigh, what a pity. Zisu, who was watching Knight Sorrow leave, sighed in his heart. He knew very well that offending Ngongha and Andrew would definitely not have a good ending. He felt that Knight Sorrow's future had become uncertain. Knight Sorrow, who did not know what Zisu was thinking, calmed down after reaching the 5th floor. He first sent a voice transmission to Vice Principal Ji Xian and then found the exchange points. He exchanged the 10,000 June Source Chi Cauldron and the Qinkuan Hidden Sword for star points. These 2 half-step Supreme Realm Divine artifacts were both evaluated as top-notch first-grade artifacts. Each of them was exchanged for 10,000 star points. Yishang immediately used the 20,000 star points to exchange for 2 Grade 1 starships. He kept one for himself and gave the other to Jielin. At the same time, he also knew that the 5th floor of the Star Hall, whether it was missions or items, corresponded to the first grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. The 6th floor corresponded to the 2nd grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. The 7th floor corresponded to the 3rd grade. The 8th floor corresponded to the 4th grade. The 9th floor corresponded to the 5th grade of the half-step Supreme Realm. Accepting missions or buying and selling things had to be done on the corresponding floor. However, Knight Sorrow originally wanted to accept a mission on the 5th floor, but it was rejected. It turned out that to accept missions from the Star Hall, one had to start from the 1st floor. Only by completing at least one mission on the first 4 floors could one accept the mission on the 5th floor. Then, Knight Sorrow went to the 1st floor to accept a mission. The mission on the 1st floor corresponded to the cultivation level of a half-step Sky Supreme. It was to casually kill a half-step Sky Supreme Star Beast. After completing the mission, Knight Sorrow prepared to kill the Star Beast to complete the mission. But at this time, Jielin reminded him, Night Devil, I think we should go and see Teacher Ji Xian first. This way, we can also make some preparations in advance to deal with the 2 vice principals. If you do the mission here, I'm afraid you'll give them plenty of time to plot against you. I've already considered what you said. However, I sent a voice transmission to Teacher Ji Xian, but I didn't get a response. Since that's the case, why don't we take things as they come? After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, he flew out of the Star Hall and searched for star beasts on the planet he was on. Chapter 33-36. I really admire your ability to remain calm in the face of danger. If it were me, I would have panicked. In fact, if I had confidence in my own abilities, I wouldn't have attacked so hard and killed Ximing instantly. I've caused a lot of trouble by killing him, Jielin said with some self-blame. Before joining forces with Knight Sorrow, she had always thought that she wasn't a match for Huang Ji, an Arbiter of Life. She never imagined that she would be able to instantly kill them in a single move in the Netherworld. Killing a genius in the endless sea of stars would cause a huge loss to Lu Tian Academy. She would definitely be punished. When she thought about how Yishan might be targeted, she felt very apologetic. It's not your fault. He asked for it. If I had arrived, I would have killed him instantly too. Also, I'm not going to let Huang Jie off easily. If I'm not wrong, he must have gone into hiding after destroying Planet Ming. He and Planet Qingxian. Night Sorrow said coldly. Huang Jie did not dare to fight him head-on. After destroying Planet Ming, he and Planet Qingxian, he must have gone into hiding. You should not be able to find him now. As for destroying Planet Desolate Thorn with a starship, he had wanted to do it. However, after talking to Elder Purplebeard, he felt that he should calm down and make Huang Jie and Si Ming look even more rude. When the time came, Vice Dean Ji Xian would defend him and have something to say. I understand. At such a time, but doing the mission step by step, it shows that you're magnanimous. When the time comes, the two vice deans will have nothing to say. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Jielin immediately understood some of his thoughts. Yes. Also, I'm not going to drag you, Pasua, and the rest into this. You should quickly recover in the Eternal Divine Tower. When you've recovered, I'll send you to Teacher Ji Xian temporarily. We can't stay in the endless sea of stars for now. After all, they might play dirty tricks. Night Sorrow said, and continued to look for star beasts. Soon, he found one and killed it. After completing the mission on the first level, he successfully completed the missions on the second, third, and fourth levels. He returned to the fifth level, except a mission to kill a giant crocodile. However, just as Night Sorrow steered his starship into the boundless sea of stars and searched for the star crocodile according to the coordinates given to him, an incomparably huge starship suddenly appeared and intercepted his starship. Who is it? Night Sorrow asked in confusion when his starship was stopped. This was because he couldn't see who was inside the starship, even though he had activated the Sea Serpent's eye. Furthermore, he couldn't detect it even when he used his spiritual energy. At this time, Jielin, who was in the space grotto heaven, warned, "Not good. Night Demon. This is Su Jitian's battleship. This is a second-grade warship." A second-grade warship? So the Su Jitian you speak of is at the second stage of the half-step supreme realm? Hearing Jielin's words, Night Sorrow immediately asked. Yes, Su Jitian's cultivation was at the second stage of the half-step pinnacle stage. At the same time, he was also recommended by Vice Principal Nan Gongha to enter the middle court. Jielin explained Su Jitian's identity and reminded him, "If he provokes us, we'll try our best to endure it." I know what to do." Night Sorrow replied, Jielin. However, he knew that he wasn't someone who would give in easily. If the other party's words went overboard, he wouldn't rule out the possibility of a fight. At this moment, a few people slowly walked out of Su Jitian's starship. The leader was Huang Jie, who had destroyed Night Demon and Meng He. Su Jitian didn't appear. After walking to the deck, Huang Jie said with a fake smile, "Night Demon, our senior brother Su invites you to Heaven-Breaking Star. Come with us." When he said this, his face clearly showed that he was harboring evil intentions. "Who is senior brother Su? I'm sorry, I don't know him. I'm not going." After Huang Jie said this, Night Sorrow replied coldly. At the same time, he used the Sea Serpent's eye to observe the few cultivators in front of him. Their auras were slightly weaker than Huang Jie's. However, they were stronger than Meng He and Zhu Qingxian. He immediately understood how powerful Su Jitian was. He thought to himself, "These must be Su Jitian's subordinates. They're stronger than Meng He and Zhu Qingxian. They're really not simple." Hearing this, Huang Jie was immediately angry. "How dare you? Su Jitian, senior brother Su. Who doesn't know him in the endless sea of stars? Are you purposely saying this to humiliate him?" When the others heard Night Sorrow's words, they also glared angrily. It was as if Night Sorrow didn't know Su Jitian and had made a big mistake. So what if I humiliate him? So what if I don't humiliate him? Facing Huang Jie and the others, Night Sorrow continued to respond disdainfully. The other party inviting him to Sky Breaking Star was definitely up to no good. Naturally, There was no need for him to smile. Moreover, Huang Jie had destroyed Night Demon and Meng He and Qing Xian. He had long wanted to attack him. You're courting death. Brothers, if he doesn't respect senior brother Su, let's take him down. Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't care about Su Zhitian's face at all, Huang Jie was immediately angry. This guy dares to be so presumptuous after hearing Master's name. He really needs to be taught a lesson. Let's go. After Huang Jie finished speaking, the other cultivators discussed for a while and immediately attacked Night Sorrow. Have you never died before? Do you want to try today? Seeing that Huang Jie and the other cultivators had all attacked, Night Sorrow shouted disdainfully. From their actions, he could tell that they were used to being unreasonable. Die? There's only one person who will die today, and that's you. This time, before Huang Jie could speak, one of Su Zhitian's subordinates mocked Night Sorrow. Is that so? Then let's try it. Let's see if my life as a Star Master is worth more than your life as a servant. Hearing this, Night Sorrow took out his golden heavenly halberd and activated the Treyastrimsa battle secret technique and the destruction divine ability. He also activated the Green Phoenix battle armor. If he were to fight Huang Jie alone, he wouldn't feel any pressure. However, with the addition of a few powerful upper heavenly sovereigns with his current strength, it wouldn't be easy to deal with them. Therefore, he didn't dare to be careless. Star Master, do you think you're so great just because you're a Star Master? Today, we'll make you kneel in front of us and beg for mercy. One of Su Zhitian's servants mocked disdainfully before attacking. You won't have the chance. Night Sorrow snorted coldly. After the other party attacked, he used the mysterious azure godly spear art and fought with them. At this moment, Dancing Lady transmitted her voice to Night Sorrow. Are you confident in dealing with them? I don't think I'll lose. You're injured. Just rest well. Night Sorrow immediately replied. He was grateful for Dancing Lady's words. All right, if you can't deal with them, summon me. I can at least share some of your burden. Dancing Lady continued. Chapter 33-37. There were too many enemies in front of them. Whirling Lady was afraid that Night Sorrow would not be able to hold on after a battle. Whirling Lady, thank you. These people are not weak, but as long as they can't injure me, they have no chance of winning. Don't worry. Yishan replied to Dancing Woman and then started fighting with the others in the sky. Su Zhitian's servants cooperated very well. While Huang Jie was restraining Night Sorrow, they were responsible for breaking through from all sides. They wanted to break Night Sorrow's defense. However, with their attacks, they were still a little lacking. After a stalemate, Huang Jie transmitted his voice to them. This guy's recovery ability is very strong. It's not good for us if we continue to wear him down. Everyone, think of a way to restrain him. When he was watching Night Sorrow's battle with Meng He and Qing Xian, he realized that Night Sorrow had an extremely strong recovery ability. Then we can only use Master's Star Ruins Web. If we control the Star Ruins Web, we might be able to trap him. One of Su Zhitian's servants replied to Huang Jie. All right, then I'll use a strong attack to restrain him. Use the Star Ruins Web. When Huang Jie heard this, a trace of viciousness flashed across his face. He took out a jade bottle from his space and splashed about a basin of water at Night Sorrow. This water was very strange. After it was splashed out, it immediately turned into the shape of an arrow in the air. It shot towards Night Sorrow, who was in the middle of the battle. The attack of a half-step Supreme Realm, first stage. Not simple. When this water arrow was shot over, it carried an extremely strong aura. It was completely stronger than Huang Jie's attack. When this arrow was shot, Night Sorrow was dealing with the siege of Su Zhitian's servants. Su Zhitian's servants did not use any spells in battle. They all surrounded him and fought hand to hand. Although this attack was limited in strength, it was very troublesome. It made Night Sorrow uncomfortable to fight. When the water arrow shot by Huang Jie came close, Night Sorrow immediately chose to use the defiant 9 steps to dodge. He pulled away from the water arrow. However, The water arrow had already locked onto him. While Knight Sorrow was dodging, the water arrow quickly chased after him. It formed a beam of white light in the air. After dodging a few attacks, Knight Sorrow immediately pulled away from Su Zhitian's subordinates, facing Baron Thorn's water arrow alone. At this moment, Knight Sorrow used the Divine Essence trapping array to pull apart the distance. Then, he used the golden heavenly halberd to unleash the divine spear. A beam of light blasted out. After this ray of light collided with the water arrow, it immediately disappeared into the void. At the same time, Baron Thorn's bottle suspended in the air once again shot out an identical water arrow. Baron Thorn's bottle is a pretty good artifact. Seeing Baron Thorn shoot out another water arrow, Knight Sorrow couldn't help but praise. But right at this moment, a sense of danger suddenly flashed through his heart. Looking up, it was Su Zhitian's subordinates who had summoned a net with a strange aura. After this net appeared, they would jointly control it and cover Knight Sorrow. Obviously, when Knight Sorrow was dealing with the water arrow, Su Zhitian's subordinates had summoned this Star Ruins net. Be careful. This net is Su Zhitian's Star Ruins net. If you are covered by it, you will enter a Star Ruins world. You can't get out of there. Seeing the Star Ruins net descending from the sky, Jialin, who was in the space grotto heaven, immediately warned. Star Ruins net? Such a divine artifact? Facing the Star Ruins net descending from the sky, Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and sent a voice transmission to the Eternal Divine Tower. Shoot the lava we took from the ancient ruins at the Star Ruins net. All right, should we leave some or shoot all of it out? Little Five immediately asked. Use all of it. No matter what, we can't let this net be sucked in. As Knight Sorrow spoke, he continuously struck out more than 40 words into the void. These words glowed brightly in the void, and then gradually blossomed with their effects. Some of them buffed Knight Sorrow, and some of them shot at the enemies to reduce their speed. What's the use of these fancy moves? Seeing Knight Sorrow strike out these words, Huang Jie said disdainfully while resisting. At the same time, he locked his gaze on the Star Ruins net and said, "Prepare to die here. You think too much. Little Five, do it." The moment the Star Ruins net descended, Knight Sorrow ordered Little Five to shoot out the lava they had collected. At the same time, he used the golden heavenly halberd to strike with Inferno Demon. The flames that filled the sky were mixed with the Phoenix Fire and Yujia Fire, as well as the Extreme Flame Phoenix Metal. Together with the lava shot out from the Eternal Divine Tower, they shot towards the descending Star Ruins net. You overestimate yourself. The Star Ruins net is not something you can burn with your flames. Seeing that Knight Sorrow did not dodge, they shot out a spear that was mixed with flames. He did not try to dodge. Su Zhitian's subordinates immediately smiled mockingly. However, their smiles did not last long before they were completely frozen on their faces. This was because they saw with their own eyes that the Star Ruins net was burned to the ground by the flames from Knight Sorrow and the Eternal Divine Tower. Impossible! How is this possible? This is a half-step supreme class divine artifact. How are we going to explain this to Master? Seeing that the Star Ruins net had been burned to the ground, Su Zhitian's subordinates immediately went crazy. This was Su Zhitian's divine artifact, and now it had been destroyed just like that. They could not afford to pay for this loss. Is this the so-called Star Ruins net? I think it's just SOSO. At this moment, Knight Sorrow roared and attacked with the golden heavenly halberd, shattering the water arrows shot by Huang Jie. Then, he charged toward Huang Jie with great momentum. Once again, he fought with them. Meanwhile, the bottle that Huang Jie had hit stopped after shooting out 3 water arrows. Knight Sorrow and Huang Jie's subordinates gradually entered a stalemate. Under such circumstances, Knight Sorrow's divine origin energy was basically not depleted and his injuries were also recovering. Not long after the battle, Huang Jie and Su Zhitian's subordinates could not hold on any longer. Su Jitian's subordinates began to be killed one after another. Oh no, we are no match for him. We need to invite senior brother Su here. Hurry up and invite him. Under such circumstances, Huang Jie immediately sent a voice transmission to Su Jitian's subordinates. Senior brother Huang Jie, don't panic. There is a teleportation formation to the starship on planet Jitian. Master will be here soon. A cultivator who had already sent a voice transmission to Su Jitian immediately replied. When the Star Ruins net was destroyed, he had already sent a voice transmission and received a response from Su Jitian. When he heard that the Star Ruins net was destroyed, Su Jitian exploded with anger. While cursing this cultivator, he rushed towards the teleportation formation in the palace and prepared to be teleported to the starship as soon as possible. Once senior brother Su is here, he won't be able to jump around anymore. When he heard that Su Jitian was coming, Huang Jie immediately became strong-willed again. How dare you let your imagination run wild when you are fighting with me? At this moment, Night Sorrow seized the opportunity to attack Huang Jie with Nirvana Heartfire. Chapter 33-38. Huang Jie, who heard that Su Jitian was about to descend, was obviously too careless. When Night Sorrow used the Nirvana Flame, he also used the Divine Essence Trapping Array to lock him down. This way, when Huang Jie reacted, there was no way he could dodge. The moment Su Jitian descended, Huang Jie was also severely injured by Night Sorrow's Divine Essence attack and was sent flying horizontally in the void. Trash is trash. With so many people, you can't even subdue a lower heavenly sovereign. After Su Jitian descended, he saw the situation and immediately became angry. Master, it's my incompetence. Seeing that Su Jitian was angry, his remaining subordinates immediately knelt in the void. Huang Jie, who was sent flying horizontally, wanted to say something but felt that his divine essence was almost out of control. He couldn't say anything. After flying for a long time, he gradually stabilized his body. At the same time, many pirate skulls flew from the void and attacked Huang Jie. Huang Jie, whose divine essence was injured, immediately cried for help. Senior brother Su, save me. Go save that trash, he's still useful. Su Jitian glanced at Huang Jie, who was surrounded by pirate skulls, and said unhappily to his subordinates. Yes. Su Jitian's remaining subordinates immediately went to help Huang Jie fight against the pirate skulls. At this moment, Su Jitian looked at Night Sorrow and said, "The endless star ocean is not some other place. Here, you're a dragon coiling up, a tiger nesting in its nest. Don't you understand this principle? You and I are both star masters. In front of me, you have no right to preach." Night Sorrow faced Su Jitian and said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Su Jitian wasn't even a friend. He felt that there was no need to put on a smiling face. "Oh, interesting. You're very interesting, you ant." Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Su Jitian laughed instead of being angry. "I want to see if you'll still have this attitude after I teach you a lesson." As soon as he finished speaking, he threw a punch at Night Sorrow. This punch looked ordinary, but it was one of Su Jitian's ultimate skills. Star Ruins Fist. Just like the Star Ruins network, he obtained it from the Endless Star Ruins. On the surface, it looked like Su Jitian had only thrown out a single punch. However, in Yishang's eyes, it was as if thousands of stars were crashing down towards him. A second stage half-step Supreme Realm Cultivator, his strength. When Su Jitian attacked him, he could feel the difference between him and an ordinary half-step Supreme Realm Cultivator. Su Jitian's strength was Su's strength. After observing with the Sea Serpent's eye, Night Sorrow discovered that none of the stars that fell from the sky were fake. They were all attacks was to Su Jitian. Therefore, he continuously to block, to defend himself, to block, to block, to block, to. It was as if he could shatter a star with a single move. Su was completely to ease. To Jitian was to stop. Su's was to him a sorrow. When a Star Ruins Fist was completely annihilated, Night Sorrow couldn't help but gasp for breath. He's to block it. Seems like I've underestimated you. Su Zetian felt embarrassed when he saw that Night Sorrow had blocked his Star Ruin's fist. He immediately took out a spear that shone with starlight. He sneered and said, "Once my Void Star Spear is unleashed, there is no time where it doesn't bleed. You're the one who asked for it. Master is mighty." The cultivators who were helping Desolate Thorn fight against the pirate skeletons immediately complimented Su Zetian when they saw him take out his Star Ruin spear. "What's there to be mighty about? Seems like you've been living in flattery. What's the point of that?" Su Zetian's Star Ruin spear was of decent quality, but Night Sorrow felt that it was similar to the Golden Heavenly Halberd. Both were first-stage half-step Supreme Realm, so he did not think much of it. When he heard this, Su Zetian replied icily, "Being complimented is also a form of proof of one's strength. Do you need me to teach you that?" As soon as he said that, he used his Star Ruin spear and fired an extremely powerful shot at Night Sorrow. The speed and power of the shot was something that Night Sorrow had never seen before. What a powerful move! Night Sorrow used the ancient coffin to block it. Little Five, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, reminded Night Sorrow when she saw how powerful Su Zetian's attack was. Night Sorrow pondered for a moment and said, "The ancient coffin's seal has loosened. I don't know what the consequences will be if I use it here." "Don't use it. How are you going to block it? If you take it head-on, you'll be severely injured." Little Five continued to transmit her voice to Night Sorrow. Their communication was extremely fast. It was a matter of a single thought. "I have a way to block it." Suddenly, Night Sorrow had an idea. He took out the Desolation Halberd that was sealed by Supremacy Leakin and blocked Su Zetian's spear light. Boom! Su Zetian's spear light landed on the Desolation Halberd. It did not break the seal on it at all. It was annihilated in the void. What? This night demon can block Senior Brother Su's full-force attack? Huang Jie, who was fighting against the Pirate Skull, saw Night Sorrow block Su Zetian's attack unscathed. He was astonished. Some of the cultivators who were also fighting against the Pirate Skull were even more shocked than Huang Jie. They did not expect Night Sorrow to be able to block Su Zetian's full-force attack. Your divine weapon was sealed by the Supreme, Honorable? Su Zetian realized that Night Sorrow's halberd was different from the others and made his own judgment. After realizing this, he felt a little better and did not feel embarrassed. "I don't know what you're talking about." Night Sorrow naturally would not admit to the Supreme Honorable. As he denied it, he was already thinking about the next battle. Su Zetian thought to himself, "This night demon is only a lower heavenly sovereign, but he has the strength of a first-grade half-step to the Supreme Honorable, and he has a divine weapon that was sealed by the Supreme Honorable. Maybe he has something to do with the three principles. If I kill him directly, it may cause unnecessary trouble." After thinking for a while, he looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Since you have something to do with the Supreme Honorable, today, I'll give the Supreme Honorable some face. As long as you can block my attack, Su Zetian, will let you go." He's really a cautious person. He's afraid of offending someone he shouldn't offend, so he's giving himself a way out. Night Sorrow looked at Su Zetian and thought to himself. He said, "Why should I block your attack for no reason? Bastard, I'm already giving you a way out by doing this. You don't want to give me face." Hearing Yishang's words, Su Zetian was instantly enraged. He sneered, "You have to block my attack whether you want to or not." Then, he used the Star Ruin spear to attack again. This attack was stronger than the previous one because he had used a unique skill. Chapter 33-39. The name of this technique was the Star Ruin Sun and Mother Spears. As soon as Su Zetian unleashed this ultimate technique, two identical Void Star spears appeared in the void. However, the one that descended from the sky was obviously summoned by Su Zetian from the Star Ruins. It carried the obvious aura of the Star Ruins and flashed with a soul-stirring light, giving off a very powerful feeling. Not simple. This technique is definitely not simple. It has a mysterious power. It's not easy to deal with. Little Five, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, immediately reminded Su Zetian when he saw him unleash such an attack. It's not easy to deal with, but it shouldn't be able to kill me in one move. He already said that he would stop after this attack, so it's very simple. Let Desolation take it head on. Even if it breaks through Desolation's defense, there's still my Leakin bloodline. After saying that, Night Sorrow controlled the Desolation War Halberd with his left hand and the Golden Heavenly Halberd with his right hand, attacking the Star Ruin's sun and sun respectively. Su Zetian had already thought of leaving, so although this technique was powerful, it did not give him much pressure. While defending against this attack, he even opened the Sea Serpent's eye to observe carefully. Boom! Boom! After 2 consecutive explosions, the void was immediately blasted beyond recognition. After the aura calmed down, Su Zetian saw that Night Sorrow had been severely injured and nodded in satisfaction. This time, I'm giving face to the supreme supremacy. The next time we meet, it won't be so simple. After saying that, he looked at Huang Ji and the others who had already dealt with the pirate skull and said, "Let's go. This time we'll spare his life. Senior Brother Su, aren't we going to kill this night demon directly?" Seeing that Su Zetian had no intention of continuing to attack, Huang Ji asked in confusion. Then, he added, "You have to know that you'll be bitten by the tiger when you're rearing a tiger. What do you know? He might have the supreme supremacy behind him. Otherwise, I'll destroy him today." Su Zetian said in annoyance. He looked at the rest of his subordinates and said, "Let's go back." "Yes, Master." His other servants immediately drove the starship obediently and flew toward planet Zetian. Huang Ji was secretly puzzled. He has the supreme supremacy behind him? That's impossible, right? However, after thinking about it, he suddenly felt that even if Yishang had nothing to do with the Supreme Venerate, he must have received some inheritance from the Supreme Venerate, since he could unleash such terrifying power with the cultivation of a lower heavenly sovereign. Immediately, he began to ponder how to deal with him. After all, there was enmity between them, and it was either you die or I die. Night Sorrow, are you all right? After Su Zetian and the others left, Little Five immediately became concerned about Night Sorrow's injuries. After that, Jialin and Hassa also expressed their concern. After all, it looked like Night Sorrow's injuries were more serious. Upon hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately replied, "I'm fine. Although I'm heavily injured, I should be able to recover soon. As for the matter of hunting the giant crocodile of Starry Sky, it won't delay at all. Su Zetian Star Ruin's mother-child spears are ridiculously powerful. It's really not easy for you to receive it." Knowing that Night Sorrow was fine, Jialin sighed. She felt that Su Zetian's attack, just now, was almost on par with her ultimate technique. That kind of power was simply amazing. At the same time, she also felt that Night Sorrow was not simple. It is indeed very powerful, but it also gave me some inspiration. Night Sorrow nodded and admitted that Su Zetian was powerful. That attack not only removed the seal on the Desolation War Halberd, but it also allowed me to understand the true essence of the mother-child spears. Oh, he only used it once, and you understood it and learned it? Upon hearing this, Jialin was immediately shocked. She had never seen anyone with such an abnormal comprehension ability. Night Sorrow said with certainty, "Yes, I have already understood the true essence of the mother-child spears. However, the power of the Star Ruins should be Su Zetian's unique ability. I can't see through it. Su Zetian has a unique treasure that allows him to communicate with the Star Ruins and obtain power or opportunities from it. Of course, we can't see through it. Actually, it's not just him. Many people in the endless sea of stars have their own opportunities." Jialin said, and then asked curiously, "You have seen through the secret of the mother-child spears. How powerful will it be when you use it? Let me recover first. When the pirate skeletons come to intercept me, I will test it out." Night Sorrow replied, and then said telepathically, "Desolation, congratulations on removing the seal. Get ready to fight with me." Okay, after being sealed for so long, I feel like I'm going to rust. It's time to exercise properly. The Desolation War Halberd said, and then reminded, oh, right. Although the Leakin Supremacy did not use too much power to seal me. However, Su Zetian was able to break it, which means that he is not simple. We must be careful the next time we meet him. I know, if he is not strong, he will not be able to severely injure me. I guess I will need to be a middle heavenly sovereign to fight with him. Knight Sorrow made his own judgment while he was recovering on the starship. He knew that his lower heavenly sovereign cultivation was indeed a little low compared to the endless sea of stars. He had to level up as soon as possible. This time, he had come out to hunt the giant crocodiles to earn some star points to exchange for some cultivation resources. I guess when you reach the half-supreme stage, you will definitely become the strongest person below the supreme stage. The Desolation War Halberd praised Knight Sorrow through telepathic communication. At the same time, he was looking forward to the mother-child spears that Knight Sorrow had mentioned. He wanted the pirate skeletons to come as soon as possible. As time passed, the pirate skeletons did indeed appear. Seeing the pirate skeletons appear, Jielin immediately asked, Night Demon, how is your recovery? Can you fight? If you can't, I can fight. I haven't fully recovered, but I should be able to fight. You Pisual and the rest should focus on recovering. Knight Sorrow replied and slowly stood up with the golden heavenly halberd and the Desolation War halberd in his hands. After thinking for a moment, he shot the extreme flame mother-child spears at the pirate skeletons. He couldn't use the Star Ruins mother-child spears, but using the power of extreme flames, this move wasn't weak either. Moreover, Knight Sorrow had also added his own understanding of magic to this move, which also increased the power of the mother-child spears by a lot. After using it, it immediately killed more than 10 pirate skeletons. Its power was extremely strong. What a powerful move. Looks like the gap between us has become even bigger. I have to work harder. Seeing Knight Sorrow use the mother-child spears and kill more than 10 pirate skeletons in one move, Pasua immediately praised. At that time, it was very difficult for her to fight against these pirate skeletons. Now that Knight Sorrow could kill so many of them in one move, it proved that the gap between them was getting bigger and bigger. At this moment, Jielin said in surprise, Look, the pirate skeletons have escaped. This is something I have never seen before. Chapter 3340. That's right. I've never seen a pirate skull run away on its own. That's obviously strange. Xian Yin chimed in. He had been in the endless sea of stars for a while and had followed them back and forth a few times. Every time, the pirate skulls would fight to the death. They would only be killed. None of them would escape alive. Their existence seemed to be to bring trouble to the cultivators and then be killed. Jielin continued. According to teacher Ji Xian, these pirate skulls have no self-awareness. But now, they're running away. That's definitely not normal. Let's leave this place quickly. There must be something fishy about this. Let's go. Knight Sorrow looked in the direction the pirate skulls left in and did not chase after them. Instead, he followed the original route and drove the starship towards the direction of the giant crocodiles while recuperating. About half a month later, they were near the giant crocodiles. Jielin reminded them. The goal of the mission is to kill a giant crocodile and bring it back. However, their species basically lived in groups. There are at least 6 or 7 in groups, and at most 20 in groups. We need to lure one out and kill it quickly, then escape. Otherwise, it'll be difficult to leave if we're surrounded by the giant crocodiles. Yes, what you said is the difficulty of this mission. Knight Sorrow observed the giant crocodiles from afar. He used the sea serpent's eye and judged. It's almost impossible to lure one of them out. Looks like we have to wait for them to come. No wonder when I accepted the mission. The mission elder told me that it's best to form a team with more than one half step to the supreme realm. It'll take a lot of time to observe their movement patterns. But the good thing is that we can fully recover in such a long time. Although our combat power is not as good as yours, we're still a threat to half-step to the supreme realm. After all, my attack instantly annihilated Arbiter of Fate, Jilin said after Night Sorrow finished speaking. With more time, the dozen or so of them will be able to fully recover. That was also a good thing. If they fought, they could help Night Sorrow and not let him fight alone. After all, the adult giant crocodiles were all half-step to the supreme realm. All right, since we're already here, let's take things as they come. You guys recover well. I will observe the movements of the giant alligator and try not to expose myself. After saying this, Night Sorrow found a place to rest in the Shattered Stars belt. He observed the movements of the giant alligator from afar. These starry sky crocodiles usually gathered in their nests in the galaxy. However, their range of activities was very large. As they moved, Night Sorrow also kept changing his position. He had been looking for an opportunity. After about a year of observation, Night Sorrow finally concluded a certain pattern. Every 3 months, the giant galactic crocodile would go out to hunt and kill other species in the galaxy. When they were fighting with their prey, these celestial giant crocodiles would split up some distance to chase after their prey. This was the perfect opportunity for them to make use of. However, he didn't have a good opportunity to attack this time. Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Jialin and the others. I've already observed and understood their movements. However, his luck wasn't too good this time. He didn't find an opportunity to attack. About 3 months later, we'll find another opportunity to strike. All right, we've already fully recovered. In these 3 months, we can practice our coordination, Dancing Lady said. She knew a little about Night Sorrow's ability to use a combined attack array. Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately said, "Sure, I'll teach everyone the joint attack formation." After saying this, he taught everyone in the Eternal Divine Tower the skill of planning and the joint attack formation. After that, they started practicing in the space of the Eternal Divine Tower. Everyone was very interested in the joint attack formation. Before they knew it, they had practiced for a month. Night Sorrow, who had been observing the giant galactic crocodiles, hid in the Shattered Stars belt and waited calmly for the giant galactic crocodiles to hunt for food. One day, 2 months later, Dancing Lady suddenly transmitted her voice to Night Sorrow. We've successfully mastered the joint attack formation. Even if Jialin doesn't attack, we can fight against at least one half-step to the Supreme Realm. Really? Very good. Looks like we can fight against 2 to 3 half-step to the Supreme Realm experts. Night Sorrow heard Dancing Lady's words and was in a good mood. The next time there were no giant galactic crocodiles chasing after prey alone, he would distance himself from his companions. Everyone would find a group of 2 or 3 to attack. They would quickly kill one, collect its corpse, and return to complete the mission. What's going on? Night Sorrow, what's the situation in the distance? Just as Night Sorrow was thinking about something, Little Five suddenly transmitted his voice to him. What's wrong? Night Sorrow heard Little Five's words and asked curiously. Look in the distance. Little Five immediately reminded Night Sorrow to look into the void in the distance. These skulls aren't coming for us, are they? If we fight recklessly, we're definitely not their match and will alarm the giant galactic crocodiles. Night Sorrow immediately felt his scalp tingle. In the void in the distance, there was an incomparably huge skull. Using the eye of the sea serpent, he realized that this huge skull was formed by millions of small pirate skulls. Among these pirate skulls, apart from 2 half-step to the Supreme Realm, the rest were all heavenly sovereigns. The most important thing was that this huge skull was obviously flying towards him. Is it because of those pirate skulls that flew away? Dancing Lady, who was also observing the distance, asked curiously. Hearing this, Jialin nodded and said, "Your speculation makes sense. There's no point in talking about this. Let's think of a countermeasure. Obviously, with so many pirate skulls coming, we're definitely not their match." Night Sorrow, who was still hiding in the Shattered Stars belt, said, "Our position is really a little awkward. It's like there's a wolf in front and a tiger behind. It's not easy to deal with." Yin Tianlai, who already knew what was going on, said with a frown. The pirate skulls in front of them could definitely annihilate them. It was the same for the giant galactic crocodiles. How could they not be vexed? Hearing this, Xin Yin said, "Since we can't beat the pirate skulls and the giant galactic crocodiles, can we think of a way to make them fight and then reap the benefits? In theory, it's possible, but it will be very difficult to implement." Hearing this, Knight Sorrow said with a frown. Even though he was mentally strong, he couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Translator, Atlas Studios editor, Atlas Studios. Chapter 33:41. The pirate skulls and the giant star crocodile in front and behind were too terrifying. None of them had the confidence to fight them. Jialin said, "Even if it's a little difficult, we still have to try. Otherwise, we'll all die here." "I understand. At the same time, I have an idea." Knight Sorrow thought for a moment and said, "When the pirate skull gets close, I'll take them away. I'll let them fight the star crocodile. You guys will stay in the asteroid belt. After I take them away, we'll immediately board Jielin's starship and return together. Then won't you have to fight alone?" Hearing this, Jielin immediately refused. "No, we can't leave you here alone." Whirling Woman also said, "That's right. We can't abandon you and run away. How about this? We'll stay in your space, grotto heaven. If you're not in danger, we'll stay in there and not come out. If you're in trouble, we'll immediately help." Xian Yin transmitted his voice. "Yes, we can't leave you here alone." Yin Tianlai also added. No one wanted to leave Knight Sorrow here alone. "All right, we'll act according to the situation." Knight Sorrow saw that the pirate skull was getting closer, and he couldn't persuade his companions to move. He stopped talking and confidently observed the movements of the pirate skull and the star crocodile. He was sure that the pirate skull's target was him. If he wanted to cause a fight between the pirate skull and the star crocodile, he had to fly towards the area where the star crocodile was active. This was naturally very dangerous, but it was also the only way to break out of this situation. "Knight Sorrow, take this pill. This is something we just refined." Under such circumstances, Little Five suddenly passed a snow-white medicinal pill to Yi War and said, "This medicinal pill can allow you to increase your speed by 3 times for a short period of time. It can increase your chances of winning by a lot." "All right, thank you." Knight Sorrow took the pill and swallowed it. Then he felt as if endless power was burning in his body. Looking at the huge pirate skull that was very close, he took a deep breath and activated the Treastrimsa, Heaven's secret technique and destruction god art. He also activated the Green Phoenix battle armor. "Everyone, I don't have the confidence to charge into the starry sky, crocodiles. But as long as I'm not dead, you'll be fine. Let's do our best and leave the rest to fate. We are not cowards who fear death." After Knight Sorrow finished speaking, Baimei Sanrin comforted him. After that, the others said something else. When they were done, Yishan steered the starship and flew out of the asteroid belt. He glanced at the huge pirate skull and flew towards the giant crocodile's nest. The giant celestial crocodile was about 10,000 feet long. It was much larger than a starship as it floated in the void. Before flying over, Knight Sorrow had carefully observed the terrain. Following that, the pirate skull also sped up and rushed over. At this point, Knight Sorrow was 100% sure that the target of these pirate skulls was him. He was obviously a little surprised and could not figure out what was going on with these pirate skulls. He focused his mind and shuttled through the giant celestial crocodile's nest. Roar! Not long after, a giant celestial crocodile discovered Knight Sorrow, who was driving the starship. It roared loudly. As it got closer, Knight Sorrow observed that although this giant celestial crocodile looked like a crocodile, its body was covered with scales that were similar to dragon scales. It was obvious that its defense was very strong. Moreover, each of them was very fast. After this one discovered Knight Sorrow, 7 or 8 nearby ones chased after him. Looking at their speed, it was obvious that they were faster than Knight Sorrow's starship. At this time, Night Sorrow kept the starship in his space cave and used the 9 steps of heaven defying. His speed increased a lot. Using the advantage of agility, he shuttled through the encirclement of the giant celestial crocodiles like a butterfly. It looked very dangerous, but he was able to avert danger every time. This situation did not last for long. Not far away, the giant pirate skulls caught up. The moment the pirate skulls entered the territory of the giant celestial crocodiles, some of the giant celestial crocodiles that were chasing Night Sorrow immediately split up and started fighting with the pirate skulls. A temporary stalemate was formed. After the giant celestial crocodiles and pirate skulls started fighting, only 2 of them were left chasing Night Sorrow. This made Night Sorrow very surprised. He said telepathically, "I will lure these 2 giant celestial crocodiles away. Let's find a place and get rid of these 2 giant celestial crocodiles together." "Okay, this is too smooth. Is it because of your Son of Providence?" Realizing that things were going so smoothly that it was almost perfect, Little Seven immediately joked. "It's mainly because the pirate skulls are a bigger threat than us. The giant celestial crocodiles can feel it. So most of them split up to fight against the pirate skulls." After saying this, Night Sorrow brought the giant celestial crocodiles and flew into the distance, pulling away from the other giant celestial crocodiles and the pirate skulls. However, after flying for a while, he realized that quite a number of pirate skulls were also following him. These pirate skulls seemed like they would not give up until they caught up with him. Seeing that a large number of pirate skulls were chasing after him, Jilin frowned and said, "This is too strange. In the boundless sea of stars, no one has ever seen a pirate skull like today, focusing on a single person and chasing him endlessly. Maybe I have something that they need. These skulls are really not easy to deal with." Night Sorrow looked back and realized that there were about 100,000 pirate skulls chasing after him. Although they were all upper heavenly sovereigns, there were too many of them, and they were not easy to deal with. He suddenly had a headache. If these things did not chase after him, he could totally find a place to kill the 2 giant celestial crocodiles and then go back to turn the mission. This matter would then be over. Just as Night Sorrow was thinking of a follow-up plan, one of the giant celestial crocodiles chasing after him was quickly entangled by the pirate skulls. Being chased by a large number of pirate skulls, although this giant celestial crocodile had the advantage in terms of cultivation level, it was quickly defeated and eaten into a pile of bones. It looked very miserable. Seeing this scene, Dancing Lady said in a low voice, "These pirate skulls are not only faster than the giant celestial crocodiles, but they are also inferior to us." "It's not inferior to us. Isn't this a little too terrifying?" "Yeah, the night demon is already at full strength, but he is still not as fast as the heavenly sovereign pirate skulls. This makes one feel a little hopeless," Jilin also said. Just as she finished speaking, the other giant celestial crocodile was also entangled by the pirate skulls. While this giant celestial crocodile was entangled by a large number of pirate skulls, the other pirate skulls quickly chased after Night Sorrow. The speed of these pirate skulls in the void was simply heaven-defying. They quickly caught up. Chapter 33:42. These pirate skulls are too fast. I can't escape and can only choose to fight, but it's not optimistic. Unable to shake off these pirate skulls, Night Sorrow found a shattered star belt and welcomed the pirate skulls that were about to surround him. At the same time, he said, "I feel that their target is only me. When the battle starts, think of a way to escape." There were too many pirate skulls in front of him, and he had no ability to win at all. Moreover, he was at a disadvantage in terms of speed. He couldn't think of a solution. He hoped that his friends could find a chance to escape. "What you said is meaningless. At worst, we'll all die together." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Jie said coldly. At this moment, she was really useful. Since Jie had spoken, Xin Yin, Dancing Woman, Ape Tian Lai, and the others who were closer to Night Sorrow naturally wouldn't back down. They all said that they wouldn't escape and were willing to fight side by side. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow was very moved, but he still frowned and said, "Why bother? In order to prevent you from being injured, I will face these pirate skulls alone. If I die, I will summon you before I die. At that time, you can each rely on your own ability to escape. If these skulls kill me and give up chasing you, that would be even better. Night Demon, why are you doing this?" Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Jielin sighed. She could understand Night Sorrow's painstaking efforts, but this made her feel very uncomfortable. Then, Dancing Woman wanted to say something, but Night Sorrow ignored her. He directly burned his Phoenix and Jielin bloodlines. Holding the golden heavenly halberd and the desolate war halberd, he shot out the extreme flame mother spear. This spear was very powerful and was currently one of his strongest trump cards. Once he used it, he immediately killed 20 to 30 pirate skulls. For a moment, his elegance was unparalleled. However, there were more than 100,000 pirate skulls in front of him. The number was terrifying. 20 to 30 was just a drop in the bucket. At this time, the other giant star crocodile that was surrounded by the pirate skulls was completely eaten. Only white bones were left, floating away in the void. The pirate skulls that had eaten Night Sorrow also flew over. This time, the number of pirate skulls surrounding Night Sorrow suddenly increased. It was simply uncountable. How despairing, seeing so many pirate skulls crowding around them. The golden heavenly halberd and desolate war halberd in Night Sorrow's hands unconsciously lowered a lot. But at this moment, he suddenly thought of Jing Yun and Wu Lingfei. There were also his wife, children, parents, relatives, and friends far away in the God Realm. He looked up to the sky and roared, "I can't die. I won't die. Let's battle." Then, he ignited the Leaken bloodline and released the power of virtue. He raised his strength to the maximum and fought with the many pirate skeletons in front of him. However, there were too many pirate skeletons. He could not hold on for even a breath against them. All he could do was to widen the distance between them and fight the pirate skeletons. After Night Sorrow activated the power of virtue, these pirate skulls had a natural resistance to it. However, they still attacked in an overwhelming manner without any regard for their lives. After fighting for dozens of breaths, Night Sorrow consecutively killed almost 100 pirate skulls in an instant. However, the pirate skulls, who had the advantage in speed, had also surrounded him in all directions at this moment. There was no way for him to hide. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow immediately roared, "Eternal Divine Tower, blast open an opening for me." "Okay, we'll do our best." Little Five responded and controlled the Eternal Divine Tower to unleash its most powerful attack. It blasted toward the pirate skulls surrounding Night Sorrow. Buzz! With a sound, the Eternal Divine Tower absorbed the energy of an entire half-step supreme stage divine artifact and blasted it out in one attack. It immediately shook the void until it buzzed. A large number of pirate skulls in front of Night Sorrow were instantly killed. Almost 8,000, if not 10,000, were annihilated in the void. Good job. If you can still unleash such an attack, don't worry about the energy consumption. If you can escape, we have plenty of opportunities to obtain such resources. Night Sorrow reminded Little Five while dealing with the pirate skulls in front of him. We can still unleash the final attack. I think this attack has to be effective. Otherwise, it's not worth it to exhaust it like this. Little Five immediately responded, but he had his own ideas. "What do you mean?" Night Sorrow was puzzled. "We think this attack is to save your life. If we can blast open a path for you to escape and attract more giant crocodiles, that's suitable. Although we can kill a lot of pirate skulls like this, it won't help the overall situation," Little Five explained. Hearing this, Night Sorrow replied, "I don't want to die. I want to live for my family. But from the looks of it, it's very difficult. My idea is that you blast open an opening, and I'll send everyone out. Listen to me. Hurry up and unleash the final attack. I think even if you blast open an opening, they won't leave you behind and escape." Little Five responded without hesitation when he heard Night Sorrow's words. No, everyone will try their best to break out. Night Sorrow replied to Little Five, and then transmitted his voice to everyone. Everyone, now that I'm in trouble, I need you to break out and help me find Vice President Ji Xian. Ask him to bring people to save me. I should be able to hold on for a while. But how long can you hold on under the attack of so many pirate skulls? Hearing this, Bai Mei Sanren immediately said worriedly, "Don't worry about it. It's useless to say this now. I'll find a way to survive. Hurry up. Every breath is precious. Don't worry, I won't die so easily." Night Sorrow said. Without giving anyone time to speak, he ordered Little Five to attack again. When Little Five unleashed the first attack, Night Sorrow summoned everyone and said, "Get on Jialin's starship and leave quickly. Help me find Vice President Ji Xian." "All right, if this is your only chance to survive, I'll do it." At this moment, Jialin did not continue to hesitate. "Let's go." At this moment, Little Five suddenly unleashed an attack in a direction. This attack killed almost 10,000 pirate skulls again. At the same time, Night Sorrow shouted, "This is a chance, go. Hurry up and leave. Try your best to hold on. No matter what, we'll be back." After saying this, Swaying Lady, Jialin, and the others took the starship and escaped through the gap created by the Eternal Divine Tower. They went around the place where the giant crocodile and the half-step Paramount Realm pirate skulls were fighting and quickly left this place. As for the pirate skull, it had only locked onto Yi Shang from beginning to end. It didn't care about them at all. After they left, Night Sorrow transmitted his voice to Little Five and the others. "Actually, you should leave with them. We're not leaving. At most, we'll self-destruct. It's no big deal." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, Little Seven replied, "Not for now. We still have a chance." At this moment, Night Sorrow said, Chapter 3343. "Oh, we're already in such a predicament, and we still have a chance of survival." Hearing this, Little Seven asked in surprise. He could not think of a way to deal with this situation. There were too many pirate skulls in front of them, so many that it made their hair stand on end. No matter what, they cannot kill them all. Our chance of survival is the ancient coffin in my hands. Now that we're in such a predicament, we can only take it out. As for what will happen after the seal is opened, we'll leave it to fate. It's better to take a gamble than to admit defeat. While Night Sorrow was resisting the pirate skull's attacks, he took out the ancient coffin from the space. He placed it in front of him to block the attacks of thousands of pirate skulls. Now that things had developed to such a state, he could only pin his hopes on the ancient coffin in front of him. He hoped that after the seal was opened, he could enter it to save his life. Then, Deputy Dean Ji Xian would save him. This was the only way Night Sorrow could think of. With the pirate skull's attacks, the seal on the ancient coffin became more and more loose. In the end, the seal on the ancient coffin was completely opened. A large amount of dark aura was released from the ancient coffin. It gave off a very violent feeling of power. The seal is open. This is a good chance. Night Sorrow, let's think of a way to enter. Seeing that the ancient coffin seal was completely opened, Little Five immediately reminded him. If Night Sorrow died, they would also sink into this dark world. Naturally, they were very anxious. "I know. I've been waiting for this moment. Whether we live or die, it all depends on this." As he spoke, Night Sorrow prepared to open the ancient coffin's lid and hide in it. However, at this moment, a cold voice suddenly sounded from the void. "Now is not the time for you to open it. Who is it?" Hearing this, Night Sorrow immediately looked over. He realized that the one who spoke was a half-step to Supreme Class Skull. This half-step to Supreme Class Skull had a very strong aura. It was at least a half-step to Supreme Class Stage 2. It might even be a Stage 3. He immediately became alert and prepared to fight with his life. "Don't misunderstand. My master wants to see you, not to kill you." This half-step to Supreme Class Skull saw that Night Sorrow was about to fight with his life and immediately explained, "If we really wanted to kill you, you would have become a pile of bones like those giant crocodiles. How could you survive until now? Your friends wouldn't be able to escape. Do you really think you're invincible? Who's your master? Hearing this, Yishang pondered for a moment and realized that this was indeed the case. Although the pirate skulls had been besieging him, it was indeed strange that none of them had managed to land the finishing blow. Logically speaking, with so many pirate skulls that, even if he had copper skins, he would have been broken. All of this proved that although the skeletons were attacking him, they did not intend to kill him. I'll see it. Come with me. Do you have any objections? The half-step Supreme class pirate skeleton said in a cold tone. Do you think I have any other choice now? Night Sorrow asked helplessly and flew towards this half-step to the Supreme class pirate skull. At this moment, the other skulls were distancing themselves from them. Of course you have a choice. You can choose to doubt and open the ancient coffin in your hands. The half-step to the Supreme class pirate skull said faintly. I can feel that you're not lying. Night Sorrow said and asked, how does your master know about me, and why does he want to see me? I can only tell you that my master is someone you know. The half-step to the Supreme class pirate skull said, and did not say anything else. Night Sorrow asked a few more questions, but the other party did not speak, so he did not say anything else. However, he kept guessing who this familiar person was. After a casual guess, Night Sorrow was shocked. He thought to himself, could this familiar person be the Leakin Supreme? Could the master he's talking about be the skull of the Leakin Supreme? The more he thought about it, the more Night Sorrow felt that it was possible. After all, the other party was someone who could make the half-step to the Supreme class pirate skull submit to him. I didn't expect that there would be a silver lining. Since the other party is someone you know, he shouldn't want to kill you, right? Maybe he's looking for you to do something or catch up. At this moment, Little 5 said with some relief. Just now, he and Little 7 have been in complete despair. Whether it's a blessing or a curse is still uncertain. Even if it's someone I know, he's turned into a pirate skull. As Night Sorrow replied, he made all sorts of guesses in his heart. However, he did not gain anything. He could only follow the other party and keep moving forward. After walking beside the half-step to the Supreme class pirate skull for a while, Night Sorrow flew back to the celestial crocodile's lair. He saw the other half-step to the Supreme class pirate skull. The pirate skull looked at Yishan with eyes that burned with will-o'-the-wisps and said, "You're too slow. Hold on to me, I'll fly you." Okay. Night Sorrow responded and grabbed a bone from the pirate skull behind him. Under its lead, he flew towards the lair that was too slow. About 3 days later, he followed the two half-step to the Supreme class pirates to the lair of many pirate skulls. This was a deserted star gathering place with 4,000 to 5,000 deserted stars scattered around. The two half-step to the Supreme class pirates brought Night Sorrow to the void outside the deserted star in the center. One of them said, "My master is on the star in front. Go look for him." Okay. Night Sorrow glanced at the star and did not say anything. He slowly flew toward the star. When Night Sorrow's body landed on the deserted star, a voice immediately sounded in his mind. "Good friend, long time no see. Not the Leakin Supremacy. Who are you?" Hearing this voice, Night Sorrow immediately determined that the other party was not the Leakin Supremacy and asked doubtfully. And this voice did indeed give him a sense of familiarity. "Hee, come in through the passage in front of you. You'll know who I am when you see me." After this voice finished speaking, a huge black hole appeared in front of Night Sorrow's eyes. Night Sorrow did not hesitate and walked straight through the black hole. After passing through the black hole, he immediately appeared in a huge space. This was a world filled with resplendent, starry skies. It was a stark contrast to the ruins of the outside world. It looked like a new world. You're right. This is a world born from the heart. I'm also a new person. At this moment, a figure slowly walked over from afar and stepped in front of Night Sorrow. Seeing this figure, Night Sorrow's eyes widened. He said in disbelief, "It's you. It's actually you." Chapter 33:44 Night Sorrow's voice was trembling. When he saw this figure, he was so excited that he almost cried, because this figure was Yin Hengshi. At this time, his aura seemed to have just been reborn, but he was still at the supreme venerable level. Even more excited than Night Sorrow was the Eternal Divine Tower. After discovering Yin Hengshi's rebirth, it immediately became excited and spoke one after another. At this time, Yin Hengshi's figure sighed and said, "I'm very happy to see an old friend. I didn't expect that you have already gathered around Night Sorrow. This should be the will of the heavens. He is the destined person of the eternal supreme realm." "Senior, what's your situation now?" Night Sorrow asked excitedly. At this time, Yin Hengshi's aura was obviously beyond the half-step supreme realm. He was obviously at the supreme venerable level. This was the first time he had seen a living supreme venerable. He felt very shocked. "The planet in front of us is made of my skull. After I fell, Supreme Venerable Dan sealed my skull in this endless sea of stars. He turned into energy for countless pirate skeletons." After Yin Hengshi finished speaking, he continued, "However, before I fell, I did something to my skull. After many years of precipitation, I finally found a chance to recover while the three of them were hibernating. However, the me in front of you is not completely supreme venerable. It's just that I have the soul of a supreme venerable, but not the body. If you want to completely recover, you need to gather all the bones in your body." "Senior, do you mean that you want me to help you find the lost bones?" Night Sorrow immediately asked. He cultivated the power of merit and used the eye of the Mirage Dragon to confirm that the Yin Hengshi in front of him was not fake. "This is one of the reasons, but let's talk about it later. In fact, I still have a few things to tell you. Don't worry, listen to me slowly." Yin Hengshi's soul said and continued. "The first thing is that in your current state, if the three supreme venerables appear, you'll be seen through immediately. At that time, what awaits you will be more terrible than death. So I will teach you a set of mental cultivation methods first. Fog breathing method. This is what I have comprehended in the endless sea of stars in recent years. Fog breathing technique." Upon hearing this, Night Sorrow asked with a puzzled expression, "If I practice this mist breathing technique, I can continue to hide my identity from the three supreme monarchs?" Yes, this fog breathing technique was extremely mystical. If you can fully grasp it, even if you stand right under the nose of those three supreme venerables, you won't be discovered, Yin Hengshi's soul body said, and then recited the incantation one paragraph after another. After he finished reciting all 10 paragraphs, he said, "Cultivate right here. If nothing unexpected happened, they would wake up soon." Those three bodies weren't destroyed. After they woke up, they were all complete supreme beings. Yes, Senior. Night Sorrow was very respectful to Yin Hengshi and Yin Yin. After memorizing the 10 sections of the mental cultivation method, he sat down and began to cultivate. It took him about 7 days to completely master the breathing technique. The child of destiny of my eternal supremacy world is truly talented. He had mastered it so quickly. From today onwards, whenever you have time, you will practice this mist breathing technique. In less than a year, you'll be able to completely change your aura so that no one will be able to detect any clues. Yin Hengshi said and continued, "But your friends have to be transferred out of the endless sea of stars. If they are here, you will also be exposed. Although they can also learn this breathing technique, they will definitely not be as fast as you. You can deceive a half-step supreme realm, but you can't deceive those three. However, the advantage is that they can use this mist breathing technique not only to hide their identity, but also to cultivate normally in the fog area without losing their minds. Senior's breathing technique is really amazing. Night Sorrow, on behalf of the people of the two realms, thank you, Senior." After Night Sorrow got up, he bowed to Yin Hengshi. This mist breathing technique, to him and the people of the two realms, was simply a godlike existence. As long as they could master this breathing technique, they would not need to be afraid of being exposed. They could also cultivate normally and no longer need to rely on the power of merit. This was simply heaven-defying. Two realms? Which one is there? Is it reliable? You have to know that this has a lot of implications. Hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Yin Hengshi immediately asked solemnly, "And the people of the eternal ancient barren world? The cultivators there are now on the same side as us." Knight Sorrow immediately told him about the eternal ancient barren world from beginning to end. Hearing this, Yin Hengshi said, "I believe in your judgment, but the human heart is not immutable. If you teach them the mist breathing technique, you must pay attention to monitoring. If there are any accidents, immediately cut off the trouble." "Yes, senior. I will nip the danger in the bud," Knight Sorrow replied. He knew that Yin Hengshi's worries were not without reason. "That's all for now." Yin Hengshi stopped this matter and continued, "As for the second matter, I have collected a lot of Star Ruin milk here. After absorbing this Star Ruin milk, not only can it increase one's cultivation, but it can also strengthen one's body. It also allows you to summon the power of the Star Ruin. I don't have a body now, so hurry up and absorb this." After saying this, Yin Hengshi pointed to a deep pool in the space. As he pointed, the originally dim pool water in the deep pool suddenly bloomed with endless starlight. The starlight bloomed out, and Yin Hengshi said, "Knight Sorrow, you are the hope of the eternal supreme world. Go and absorb as much as you can. You can only come here once, and you can't take the things away. Absorb as much as you can." "Yes, senior." In front of Yin Hengshi, Knight Sorrow did not ask too much. He directly followed the instructions and dived into the deep pool to absorb the Star Ruin milk. As soon as he dived in, Knight Sorrow felt an extremely manic energy crazily drilling into his body. It made his cultivation increase uncontrollably. No need to absorb it, just like this. If you absorb it, your cultivation will definitely increase faster. Feeling the manic energy of the Star Ruin milk, Knight Sorrow immediately absorbed a large amount of it. As he absorbed, the light in the deep pool gradually became restrained. Knight Sorrow's cultivation and the strength of his body also increased crazily. Looking at Knight Sorrow, Yin Hengshi sighed and said, "There's no need to mention your talent, but your cultivation is still a little low. However, if you can advance to the half-step supreme realm within 10,000 years, the eternal supreme world still has a chance. Otherwise, Master, otherwise what?" After Yin Hengshi finished speaking, the eternal divine tower, floating in the void, asked through voice transmission, "No need to call me Master. We are all friends. In addition, in the future, you can follow Knight Sorrow with peace of mind. He is the hope of the eternal supreme world." Yin Hengshi responded, but did not answer the eternal divine tower's question. Chapter 33:45. We will help him well. After Yin Hengshi finished speaking, Little Five looked at Knight Sorrow, who was cultivating in the Star Ruin milk again. At this moment, Knight Sorrow's surroundings were constantly flickering with light that shot into the sky. If not for the suppression of the small world, it would have already broken through the void and formed a huge pillar of light. After observing for a while, Little Five said, "After a long time together, we have a lot of confidence in Knight Sorrow. We believe that he has the ability to do anything. It feels good to see hope with my own eyes. However, when those three people come out, they might already be existences at the same level. No matter how much of a genius Knight Sorrow is, he might not be able to compete with them." Yin Hengshi looked at Knight Sorrow with gratification and continued, "If I'm not wrong, they have been in seclusion for so long, not only to recover from their injuries. They're also trying to break through to a higher level." "A higher level? Are the three of them going to break through the extreme realm and enter a new level?" Hearing this, Little Five was surprised. Breaking through to the extreme realm has always been their hope. Otherwise, they would not have come to the fog area back then. After saying that, Yin Hengshi continued, However, I'm not sure. The extreme realm is not so easy to break through. They should have only advanced a small level in the extreme realm. When they fought with us, they were at the 5th level of the extreme realm. There are a total of 9 levels in the extreme realm. I wonder how strong they will be after coming out of seclusion. They were at the 5th level of the extreme realm in the past. In the future, even if Night Sorrow advances to the extreme realm, the gap between them and him will be huge. Little Five said in surprise. He was even more worried about the future of the Eternal Supreme Realm. As long as they don't die too quickly, there will be a chance. I'm only worried that Night Sorrow will not be able to take the blow from certain aspects and choose to die together. Yin Hengshi looked at Night Sorrow and said, he knew a lot of things, but he could not tell the Eternal Divine Tower for the time being. After all, the Eternal Divine Tower was a divine weapon. If the 3 Supreme Venerables obtained it, they would not be able to keep it secret, so he could not tell them. He was prepared to tell Night Sorrow everything later. Just as Yin Hengshi and Little Five were talking, Night Sorrow's aura rose again. Then, with a flash of brilliance, he successfully advanced from a lower heavenly sovereign to a middle heavenly sovereign. After successfully advancing, the lightning tribulation immediately condensed in the void. However, under the bombardment of the lightning tribulation, Night Sorrow did not leave the astral ruin milk. Instead, he absorbed the astral ruin milk while using the lightning tribulation to increase the strength of his body. A few days passed just like that. By the time the lightning tribulation body descended, Night Sorrow's body had already grown to an extremely terrifying level. Without using divine essence energy at all, just using the strength of his body, he directly defeated the lightning tribulation energy body. Huh, good, very good. Other than Myriad, I've never seen anyone else with such a strong body. Yin Hengshi praised Night Sorrow after he successfully passed the tribulation and became a true middle heavenly sovereign. Is Myriad Jizun's body that strong? Night Sorrow asked when he heard this. Yes. Myriad majored in slaughter, so his body's toughness was abnormal. He didn't major in flames, so even I don't know what his true form is. Dan is good at refining equipment and refining pills. The 3 of them complement each other very well. Yin Hengshi said slowly. Then, he continued, you continue to cultivate and absorb all the astral ruin milk. It's useless for me to absorb it anymore. I'd better leave some for myself. Night Sorrow looked at the remaining astral ruin milk and refused. He could feel that if he continued to absorb it, there would be no effect. All right then, I'll leave this for other fated people. Yin Hengshi nodded. The third thing, I want to tell you about the 3 Supreme Supremes. Night Sorrow is all ears. Hearing the words 3 Supreme Supremes, Night Sorrow immediately concentrated. Then, Yin Hengshi transmitted his voice. We have lived in this world for far too long. Later, the 3 of them left the Eternal Supreme World and came to the foggy area for power. Their goal was to break through the Supreme Realm and enter a new realm. They wanted to see if they could leave this world under the new realm. During the last battle, they were all at the 5th level of the Supreme Realm. Now, they should have improved a little. They should not be far from the 9th level of the Supreme Realm. The Supreme Realm is divided into 9 levels. Yishang asked via voice transmission. He knew that Yin Hengshi did not want anyone else to hear this. Yes, the Supreme Realm is divided into 9 levels. Don't think that you can compete with the 3 of them just because you've advanced to the Supreme Supremes. It's definitely not easy to catch up with them. Yin Hengshi frowned and continued. In addition, before I died last time, they said that they would go to the other realms. This time, when they came out of seclusion, they would devour all the realms outside the foggy area to improve their own strength, to break through to a new realm. What? They're going to devour all the realms outside the foggy area? After Yin Hengshi finished speaking, Night Sorrow's heart trembled. All the realms outside the foggy area, including the God realm. He absolutely could not accept the God realm being devoured. Yes, including the eternal supreme world and the supreme world's origin. They will all be devoured by them. This is the idea that they came up with after their strength reached the limit. Yin Hengshi analyzed and said, in fact, according to my estimation, if devouring the world outside the foggy area is still not enough, they are very likely to devour most of the cultivators in the world. They will only leave some with potential to replace them. The 3 vice presidents of the Lu Tian Academy seem to be preparing to use the geniuses in the middle of the academy to replace all the big families in the foggy area. Could it be that the 3 Supremes feel that they have fattened up these pigs and can devour them, and then train us to be devoured in the future? Knight Sorrow analyzed with a frown. Only now did he understand the danger of the 3 Supremes. It turned out that he had completely underestimated their ruthlessness. Yes, if I'm not wrong, these big families should have already nurtured the Supremes, and the Supremes are the best tonic for them. Yin Hengshi continued to deduce. At this point, Knight Sorrow suddenly felt a chill run down his spine when he thought of the 3 Supremes. In order to pursue power, they really had no bottom line. They were simply the most terrifying monsters in time. I'll stop here for this matter. Let's talk about the next thing. Yin Hengshi continued to transmit his voice. The next thing is related to me. First, I need your help to get my body back. Second, after the 3 of them come out of seclusion, if I'm still here, I will definitely be exposed. I need something on you to hide. You need something from me? What's that? Hearing this, Knight Sorrow immediately asked in confusion. He really did not know that he had a treasure on him that could hide from the Supreme's perception. Chapter 3346. The coffin in your body can hide, my divine soul. Seeing Knight Sorrow's puzzled expression, Yin Hengshi immediately transmitted his voice to him. Is it the ancient coffin that I summoned when I was fighting with the pirate skull? Knight Sorrow immediately asked. He really had a lot of questions about this ancient coffin. But hearing this, Yin Hengshi said, not this one, but another one. The ancient coffin in your hand is very unusual. I can't see through it at all, but I know what's going on with the one you're wearing. It can block all the aura of a person if you're not at a close distance and hide in it. Even a Supreme Master can't find it. I see. So it's that one? Senior, if you need it, I can give it to you. After hearing Yin Hengshi's words, Knight Sorrow immediately understood that he was talking about the other one. That was the one he got from the mysterious man on the altar. At that time, the mysterious man said that this ancient coffin was his coffin. Haha, you don't have to give it to me. I can borrow it temporarily. When my body comes back, I don't need to use this coffin to hide my body. After Yin Hengshi's divine soul finished speaking, he continued, in addition, my body needs your help. Senior's business is my business. Where is your body scattered? Knight Sorrow put the eternal divine tower and the desolation halberd into the space cave. Then he took out the coffin, handed it out, and continued to ask. My head is this celestial body in front of you. My body is turned into a mountain of flames. My 4 limbs were sealed in the 4 cities of the foggy region. As for the rest, they have been consumed long ago. But it doesn't matter. As long as my bones are here, I can recover. After Yin Hengshi finished speaking, he continued, some parts of the eternal divine tower are also suppressed in several cities. If there's a chance in the future, you can take them all. I see, Senior. But how can I recognize your bones? Knight Sorrow looked at Yin Hengshi. It's simple. Feel the aura of this star. My other bones are similar to the aura here. As long as you meet them, you will be able to tell immediately. Yin Hengshi said slowly. All right, Senior. Knight Sorrow nodded. He carefully sensed the aura here and memorized it. What I wanted to say is more or less done. There was one more thing. You might not be able to kill 3 Supreme Venerables in a single reincarnation. If you fail, don't give up. As long as we can stand up, we will have the chance to completely destroy them. Yin Hengshi added, at this moment, there are already people looking for you in the void. Judging from their auras, they should be the 3 vice school heads. Before I leave, I'm going to teach you a dozen or so divine abilities. This is also all the divine abilities I have mastered. A dozen divine abilities? If I can master them, my strength will definitely increase by a lot. Hearing this, Knight Sorrow's interest was piqued. Things like divine abilities were definitely good stuff for him. Divine abilities are actually the foundation for the survival of various forces. Countless variations can be practiced from them. Most of the divine abilities I teach you are used to strengthen the foundation. But there are 3 divine abilities which are used to increase speed, increase soul attack, and increase close combat attack. After that, Yin Hengshi began to teach Knight Sorrow these divine abilities. Among the divine abilities he taught, more than a dozen were basic divine abilities related to cultivation. However, the techniques named Ocean Roaming Dragon, Dark Devouring Soul, and Void Broken Palm were all used to attack. After teaching these divine abilities, Yin Hengshi said, "For me, although there are many divine abilities, in the end, they are all basic. You can study them carefully and combine them with what you have learned in the Balance Institute. You'll be able to comprehend even more powerful moves." Yes, Senior. A few days ago, I tried to integrate some of the divine abilities of the Eternal Supreme World. Knight Sorrow did not hide anything and told him about the Divine Finger and the Azure Sea Tide. There are rumors in the world that if you integrate 10,000 Tao, you will be invincible in the world. The 10,000 divine abilities of the Eternal Supreme World, those 3 existences have been accumulating for a long time, much more than I have. If you encounter them in the future, you must be careful, especially Myriad. He has already mastered thousands of divine abilities. After Yin Hengshi finished, he sighed and said, "And I once mastered thousands of divine abilities, but I had no choice but to fall once, so I can't remember many things. Now that the Eternal Supreme World is in complete chaos, it should be impossible to gather all the divine abilities. However, the 3 Supreme Venerables have mastered thousands of divine abilities, so the combined attack must be incomparably heaven-defying. We still have to continue to improve our strength." Knight Sorrow sighed with emotion. He had imagined how powerful the 3 Supreme Venerables were. But today, after listening to Yin Hengshi, he completely understood how heaven-defying they were. So, there's still a long way to go. You are still young and full of vitality. As long as you live, everything is possible. Yin Hengshi finally patted Knight Sorrow's shoulder and said, "I called you here. You have to think of an excuse. As for your coffin, I will keep it for the time being. Go." Senior, Junior still has one more thing. Can you deduce what's inside this ancient coffin of mine? Knight Sorrow took out the ancient coffin and placed it in front of Yin Hengshi. Yin Hengshi looked at the ancient coffin, frowned, and said, "It is definitely not simple, but my divine soul can't explore it. I can't be sure what is inside, and I can't be sure whether it is good or evil. You keep it with you for the time being. If you are at the end of the line in the future, you might as well take the risk and open it." "I know, Senior." Then Junior will take his leave. Knight Sorrow and Yin Hengshi's divine soul said goodbye and flew outside. At the same time, he was also thinking about what kind of excuse he could use to explain his survival. But after thinking for a while, he didn't come up with anything. At this time, Yin Hengshi continued, "In the area where you were intercepted, there is a starry sky tomb. This is the map. You can enter the starry sky tomb ahead of them, and then come out from there. Say that you used the starry sky tomb to escape the pursuit of the pirate skulls and obtain the starry sky milk to improve your strength." "Senior, thank you for your advice." Knight Sorrow took the map that Yin Hengshi flew out, held it in his hand, and looked at it, then left the star in front of him and flew over there. After reaching the vicinity according to the map, Knight Sorrow immediately sneaked into the starry sky tomb. Chapter 33:47. Should we wait in this tomb or go out to meet them? After entering the tomb, Xiao immediately asked, "Since we're here, let's take things as they come. Let's look around and see if we can find any resources. If there's nothing here, let's familiarize ourselves with the terrain. If they ask, we'll know nothing about this place. After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he summoned the eternal divine tower and restriction-breaking hammers. He said, "Everyone, let's look around here and see if there's any opportunity." Okay, in the previous battle, we couldn't do anything to help. We were really anxious. Now we can finally do something. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammers was summoned and said embarrassedly, "Actually, you guys couldn't help much in the battle. It's my fault for not giving you enough resources. When you guys advance to half-step to Extreme Realm, it should be fine." After the male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammers finished speaking, Night Sorrow took out some Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold and handed it to the hammers. "Use it to level up. There were too many battles a few days ago, and I neglected you guys, resulting in you guys not advancing to half-step to Extreme Realm. Hee, you're too polite. After all, you've already given us the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold. It's just that if we want to level up, we need to consume more than the Golden Heavenly Halberd." After Night Sorrow handed over the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold, the female hammer of the restriction-breaking hammers said politely, "Don't worry about this now. Try and see if you can level up quickly. After you level up, come out and help." After the restriction-breaking hammers collected the Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold, Night Sorrow said, and kept the hammers in his space grotto heaven. He brought the Eternal Divine Tower to look for resources in the tomb. After entering the Starry Sky Tomb, one would actually enter a galaxy. However, the stars here were all broken. From afar, none of them were complete. The best preserved star was only 1/3 of a sphere. Night Sorrow opened the sea serpent's eye and observed for a while. All he saw was a dilapidated scenery. He said, "There doesn't seem to be any resources here. It should only be the star tomb." That seems to be the case. They're all broken stars, and there's no life on them. What opportunities can there be here? Little Five, who had also observed for a while, said, "The Eternal Divine Tower didn't find anything useful either. Actually, it doesn't matter if you don't have the resources. The special thing about this star tomb was that the pirate skulls couldn't enter. Thus, it gave me a reason to escape. That was enough. Let's familiarize ourselves with the surroundings and go out in a while." As Night Sorrow spoke, he took the Eternal Divine Tower and casually wandered through the cosmos. However, he didn't find any useful resources. Besides the remains of some celestial bodies, there were also the remains of some star beasts in this star tomb. The remains of these star beasts were enormous, but after the baptism of time, they had become extremely fragile. The slightest touch would turn them into ashes. In this illusion, Night Sorrow flew for about 3 days. When he found that the surrounding environment was similar, he began to turn back, flying towards the entrance. However, after flying for 2 or 3 days, the restriction-breaking hammer suddenly moved. After devouring a large amount of Extreme Flame Phoenix Gold, they had finally evolved into half-step paramount divine artifacts. After advancing, Male Hammer immediately transmitted a message to Night Sorrow. "Let us out to transcend the tribulation." "Okay," Night Sorrow replied and let them out. He asked, "Will transcending the tribulation in this environment affect you?" "It shouldn't affect us." Male Hammer replied and faced the tribulation together with Male Hammer. This time, they didn't let Night Sorrow help. The two of them cooperated to resist the tribulation. Although Night Sorrow was worried, he respected their wishes. At the critical moment, when the pair of restriction-breaking hammers were almost destroyed, he didn't help. As for the male and female hammers, when they were damaged to the same extent as some of the surrounding celestial bodies, the two of them burst out with a shocking light at the same time. They completely illuminated the dark void. After that, the pair of restriction-breaking hammers successfully transcended the tribulation as if they had the help of the gods. They completely became half-step paramount divine artifacts. Congratulations on successfully transcending the tribulation. Seeing that the restriction-breaking hammers had successfully advanced to half-step paramount divine artifacts, Night Sorrow immediately congratulated them. Little Five and the Desolate Halberd also congratulated them. Hee hee, congratulations to you too. After all, we're still one step late. At this moment, Male Hammer said and continued, Night Sorrow, just now, when we were transcending the tribulation, we suddenly saw a different scenery. Different scenery? What's going on? What did you see? Night Sorrow asked in confusion. He didn't quite understand what they meant. Male Hammer explained, Didn't we almost shatter just now? At that time, we saw the real scenery around us at the same time. Real scenery? What's going on? Could it be that what we see now is just an illusion on the surface? Little Five asked after hearing that. Yes, if we're not wrong, there's a barrier in front of us. As long as we break it, everyone will be able to see the real appearance of this place. According to our observation, there must be opportunities here. After Male Hammer finished speaking, he looked at Female Hammer and said, Let's begin. As he spoke, he transformed into his human form. Okay. After Female Hammer said that, she transformed into a graceful woman. Then, they began to break the barrier in the void. After about 7 days and 7 nights, they successfully broke the barrier in front of everyone. The moment the barrier was broken, Yishang immediately saw a resplendent starry sky. Some of the stars that appeared should have been reborn in the Nirvana rush and were now blooming with brilliance. These are the initial stars, and the energy they contain is extremely pure. Let's see if we can find any resources. After observing for a while, Night Sorrow ordered. Then he brought the Eternal Divine Tower, Golden Heavenly Halberd, Desolate War Halberd, and Restriction-Breaking Bronze Hammer, and entered the new world in front of him. He began to search for resources. After leading many divine artifacts to search for a while, Night Sorrow discovered that these stars contained a lot of energy, but there was no life or civilization yet. He immediately said, Eternal Divine Tower, can you store these stars? I feel that these in front of us are a new world. Watching it grow will be a great reference. From nirvana to new life, to the birth of life, and then to the beginning of life cultivation, this can indeed allow one to comprehend a lot of things. Even if there are no resources around that can be used directly, it's still a great resource. Desolate War Halberd agreed. Actually, this world contains a lot of energy, but I can't bear to absorb it, because if I absorb it, this place can't continue to grow. Night Sorrow explained. It's not that he didn't find any resources, but he didn't want to destroy this nascent starry sky prototype. Chapter 3348. This embryonic form of the starry sky is a new world that can only be encountered by chance. But the Eternal Divine Tower can't be stored in it, because it's too vast. After Little Five and Little Seven studied it, they replied to Night Sorrow. They knew that the embryonic form of the starry sky in front of them was a very rare treasure. It was very helpful for experts to understand the world, but they didn't have the ability to store it. What a pity. My space grotto heaven shouldn't be able to store it either. You guys shouldn't be able to do it either, right? Night Sorrow asked Desolate War Halberd and Restriction-Breaking Hammer. Of course, I think that other than the extreme venerables, no one should have the ability to store this world. Desolate War Halberd looked at the magnificent starry sky and said, At this time, the Male Hammer of the Restriction-Breaking Hammer continued, We definitely can't store it directly, but I can think of a way. Think of a way? What is it? Tell me. Hearing Xiong Chue's words, Night Sorrow immediately became interested. In my opinion, Night Sorrow can open the ancient coffin on his body and store this world. The Male Hammer suggested. What? Open the ancient coffin? But we don't know what's inside the ancient coffin. If an evil extreme venerables comes out, won't we all die? Night Sorrow said with a frown. Hearing this, the Male Hammer, who had transformed into a human form, said, No, there shouldn't be anything in your ancient coffin. Oh, you can sense the situation inside the ancient coffin? After the Male Hammer finished speaking, Night Sorrow immediately asked, I couldn't in the past, but now that I've advanced to the half-step paramount realm, I can sense that there are no life fluctuations inside. Therefore, there shouldn't be any terrifying existence inside. The male hammer of the restriction-breaking hammer said, and continued, "Do you still remember the name of this ancient coffin? World burial coffin. It can bury a world. It can definitely store this embryonic form of the starry sky. If you can be sure, I can open it now." Night Sorrow looked at the pair of restriction-breaking hammers and said, "I'm very confident." The male hammer said with certainty, "Okay, then I'll believe you this time. Let's take a gamble." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he kept the golden heavenly halberd and the others into the spatial grotto heaven, leaving only the restriction-breaking copper hammer outside. Then he took out the ancient coffin and was about to lift the lid. At this moment, Xiao advised, "I think it's fine even if we can't take this embryonic form of the starry sky. But opening the coffin is extremely dangerous. I think this embryonic form of the starry sky will be of great use. We could take a gamble." Night Sorrow replied telepathically. Under the watchful eyes of the hammer, he opened the lid of the ancient coffin. After the lid of the ancient coffin was lifted, a large amount of black gas immediately came out. This black aura was very strong, and at the same time, it also contained a very strong power. Night Sorrow didn't dare to absorb this power and let it spread out into the starry sky. When the black gas completely dissipated, a dense fog rose from the ancient coffin, making it impossible for people to see what was inside. At this moment, Night Sorrow looked at Xiong Hammer and asked, "What should we do next?" "Next, you should make the ancient coffin recognize you as its master. Then control it to collect the fledgling starry sky." Xiong Hammer immediately replied. Hearing this, Night Sorrow looked puzzled and asked, "What should I do to make the ancient coffin recognize me as its master?" "It's very simple. Drip your blood to recognize you as its master. As long as it recognizes you, drip your blood on it and you will be recognized. If it doesn't work, it proves that you are not its chosen master." Xiong Hammer said and then speculated, "But I think it has been following you all this time. This already proves something." I think so too. If it didn't recognize me, it wouldn't have been following me all this time." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he dripped his blood on the ancient coffin. After his blood was absorbed by the ancient coffin, Night Sorrow immediately felt that he was connected with the ancient coffin. However, this ancient coffin didn't have self-consciousness. He tried to communicate with it, but to no avail. So, he began to control the ancient coffin to collect the embryonic form of the starry sky. After trying, he really collected the entire world in front of him into the ancient coffin. This ancient coffin is really powerful. Seeing Night Sorrow use the ancient coffin to collect the starry sky, Xiong Hammer immediately praised. Xiaowu, who was in the space grotto heaven, also praised. "No wonder it's called the world burial coffin. It can really collect a world. It's really not simple, but I'm not sure if this world can continue to develop in the ancient coffin." Night Sorrow slowly closed the ancient coffin and said with some uncertainty, "We can't control those things." Xiong Chue said and continued, "The new world here has been taken away, so the space should collapse soon. Let's leave quickly." "Okay, you guys enter my space grotto heaven too." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he kept the ancient coffin and the hammer and flew towards the exit of the starry sky tomb. A few days later, Night Sorrow successfully left the exit of the starry sky tomb. At the same time, the originally dilapidated starry sky was completely destroyed. In the void, an incomparably huge shock wave was formed. It was this shock wave that attracted Vice President Ji Xian and the others. When Vice President Ji Xian and the others arrived and saw that Night Sorrow was still alive, they immediately said in surprise, "Night Demon, Teacher thought you had already fallen. How did you survive?" Reporting to Teacher, "That day, I was surrounded by pirate skulls and was lucky enough to break out of the encirclement. By chance, I entered the starry sky tomb. Those pirate skulls didn't follow me in. Later, I found some opportunities in it, and my cultivation also increased to the level of a middle-level Sky Supreme. It could be considered a blessing in disguise. Night Sorrow took a look and found that on the left and right sides of Jixian's starship, Andrew and Nangong, his starship, were following respectively. He immediately said word by word according to the excuse that he had long thought of. "You've advanced to the middle level? Good, very good." Vice President Ji Xian smiled and congratulated him. It could be seen that he was really happy for Night Sorrow. "Thank you, teacher." Yishang expressed his heartfelt gratitude. He felt that although he and Ji Xian were on different sides, the other party's character was still not bad. At this time, Nangong he coldly snorted and said, "You master and disciple, if you want to catch up, do it another day." Next, let's talk about how Si Ming was killed by Night Demon. As soon as Nangong he finished speaking, Vice President Andrew asked coldly, "Night Demon, is the matter of you killing Si Ming true?" Although he used a questioning tone, his tone gave people an unquestionable feeling. Hearing the words of the two, Night Sorrow understood that what was coming had come. The two of them had just found him, and they were ready to settle the matter of Si Ming. Hearing this, Jialin, who was standing behind Ji Xian, immediately prepared to stand up. At this time, Night Sorrow spoke first. "Yes, I killed Si Ming." Chapter 3349. Sigh. Jialin sighed when he saw that Yi Shang had taken over this matter. However, she knew Night Sorrow's painstaking efforts, so she didn't continue to speak, because she understood that even Vice Dean Ji Xian couldn't protect her. At this moment, Vice Dean Ji Xian said, "Night Devil, is there a reason why you killed Si Ming?" He was naturally speaking to Night Sorrow. Hearing that Vice Dean Ji Xian gave him a chance to explain, Night Sorrow immediately said, "It's like this. When I was fighting with Meng Shi and Zhu Qingxian, Baron Thorn suddenly left and went to Night Devil Planet and Meng Shi to cause destruction. After the battle ended, I went to track Baron Thorn. As for my friends and subordinates, they went to Planet Jialin under Jialin's lead." Speaking of this, Night Sorrow looked around, but he didn't find Baron Thorn. Thus, he added, "If the Vice Deans can find Baron Thorn, we can confront each other on this matter. This matter has nothing to do with you killing Si Ming. There's no need to confront each other. Continue to talk about Si Ming." Seeing that Night Sorrow had lured Baron Thorn to destroy Night Devil Planet, Andrew immediately said in a bad mood, "All right, then I won't mention this matter for now." Night Sorrow looked at Andrew and said firmly, "While I was tracking Baron Thorn, Si Ming stopped me on planet Jialin's ship. Si Ming stopped Jialin with her starship and attacked my friends and subordinates. For such a despicable and shameless person, there's nothing wrong with me rushing back to kill him, right?" At this moment, he had already cultivated the fog breathing technique. He was not worried about being exposed in front of these people at all. He was much more confident than before. His words were also more natural and more infectious than before. Hearing this, some of the cultivators on the 3 starships felt that there was no problem. At this moment, Andrew sneered and said, "If what you said is true, then killing Si Ming can be more or less pardonable. You only need to accept a small punishment. But how can you prove that what you said is true?" "Jialin and all my subordinates can prove this matter." Yishang looked at Su Zhe and said fearlessly, "After all, he was in the right in this matter. Even if the other party was the vice school head, he still couldn't afford to mess around." Hearing this, Andrew sneered and said, "The people who can prove this matter are all your friends and subordinates. What's the difference between this and no witnesses? Other than them, can you find any other witnesses?" At that time, there was no one else in the sky, so no one can prove it. However, my friends and subordinates can all swear an oath to the heavenly Tao to prove what I just said. Night Sorrow said straightforwardly. Other than the fact that Jialin was the one who killed Si Ming, he did not lie about anything else. He was not afraid of using the heavenly Tao oath to prove himself. Upon hearing this, Nangong he let out a cold harumph and said, "Ridiculous. Our friends and subordinates should stay away from the matter of you killing Si Ming. Do you have any other witnesses or evidence? If you don't, we'll take it that you're just spouting nonsense. You will be severely punished. Vice School Head Nangong, I've already made it very clear just now. My friends and subordinates can swear an oath to the heavenly Tao. If what I said to them is false, they will definitely be punished by the heavenly Tao. Isn't this enough to prove the truth of the matter? After Nangong he finished speaking, Knight Sorrow immediately said angrily. He understood that these two vice school heads were about to shamelessly act shamelessly. Of course they can't prove it. Even if you say something, your friends and subordinates can't testify for you. This is the rule. Nangong he continued to speak coldly. There was obvious resentment in her tone. She and Andrew were on the same side. Both Si Ming and Baron Thorn had been trained by them before, so they could be considered half of Si Ming's master. Now that Si Ming had been killed, all she thought about was how to take revenge for her, not how to differentiate between right and wrong. Hearing this, Vice School Head Jason's expression immediately changed. He questioned, when did our Lu Tian Academy have such a rule? Why haven't I heard of it? Aren't you bullying the Night Demon by saying this? There wasn't before. Now, there is. This is something that Vice School Head Jason and I agreed on. Even if you have any objections, when you vote, we will win 2-1. Nangong he looked at Vice School Head Jason with an unpleasant expression. On this matter, she was obviously not prepared to give in. Nonsense. Are the two of you trying to cover the sky with one hand in the Lu Tian Academy? If everything is up to the three of us to vote, then wouldn't the entire Lu Tian Academy become your backyard? After Nangong he finished speaking, Vice School Head Jason replied coldly. If you want to understand it this way, then there's nothing wrong with it. Nangong he said with a gloomy face. Then she said straightforwardly, no matter what, the Night Demon will receive the most severe punishment today. My people won't die in vain. At this point, she had already made it clear that she didn't want to be reasonable. Hearing this, Vice School Head Jason said coldly, today, unless the two of you cripple me, no one can maliciously punish the Night Demon. Night Demon, come over and stand behind teacher. I want to see who dares to maliciously target you today. Yes, teacher, Night Sorrow replied and flew behind Vice School Head Jason. He was very touched that the other party was protecting him today. The two of you, if you have something to say, let's talk nicely. The three of us won't make such a big fuss over a junior. What do you think? At this moment, Andrew suddenly spoke. If you don't want to make a big fuss, then punish the Night Demon severely. Nangong he still refused to give up. Vice School Head Jason sneered and said, Andrew, I understand what you mean. Isn't he just pretending to be a peacemaker? Then, he will deal with the Night Demon. Tell me, how do you want to deal with him? It's very simple. Banish the Night Demon to the Mass Burial Star region. We won't pursue this matter any further. Nangong he looked at Vice School Head Jason and said arrogantly, if you don't agree, an unprecedented war will break out in the Lu Tian Academy. Bastard, even if a war breaks out, I won't let the Night Demon be banished to the Mass Burial Star region. Hearing this, Vice School Head Jason immediately became furious. As for Night Sorrow, he sent a voice transmission to Jielin and asked, what's going on with the Mass Burial Star region? Is there no chance of survival after being banished there? He didn't know anything about the Mass Burial Star region. I'm not sure if there's a chance of survival, but I've never heard of anyone who was banished there coming out alive. Jielin said and continued, they want you to pay with your life. So that's how it is. Hearing this, Night Sorrow's eyes immediately narrowed. Chapter 3350. If it weren't for the fact that Nangong, Lotus, and Andrew were both experts of the fourth stage of the Half-Step Supreme Realm, Night Sorrow might have even made a move. However, the truth was that Nangong, Lotus, and Andrew's fists were bigger. He didn't have the ability to resist at all. Moreover, Dean G's words didn't have any effect at all. As for himself, no matter how he tried to explain, it would definitely not have any effect. At this moment, Dean G had completely fallen out with Nangong Lotus and was about to make a move. Under such circumstances, Night Sorrow felt that he couldn't implicate Dean G. He immediately sent a voice transmission. Teacher, if they just want to exile me, then we can agree to it. No, they want to exile you to the Chaos Burial Star region. None of the people who were exiled there were able to come out. Even their corpses didn't come out. I can't let a seedling like you be killed by them like this. Vice Principal Ji Xian replied decisively. But teacher, at the moment, we seem to be weak. If this continues, I'm afraid that I won't be the only one who dies. From the perspective of the overall situation, it's better for me to take responsibility for this matter alone. Night Sorrow continued to send a voice transmission. He understood that if this matter didn't end with him, then many people present would die. Although Nangong, Lotus, and Andrew didn't dare to kill Dean Ji, they definitely wouldn't be polite to him, Jielin, and the others. But this is too unfair to you, Dean Ji said unwillingly when he heard Night Sorrow's words. Right now, we are weak, so we can only be bullied. There is no fairness. This is natural selection, the survival of the fittest. We can't resist, so we can only accept it. After Night Sorrow said this, he continued, besides, the others have been exiled to the Chaos Burial Star region and can't come out. It doesn't mean that I can't come out either. Teacher, please believe me. Sigh. When Vice President Ji Xian heard this, he sighed deeply. I hope you don't blame me for being useless. I won't. Teacher has already done his best for Night Devil. Night Devil has already remembered it in his heart. If I'm lucky enough to return from the chaotic Burial Star region, I'll definitely cooperate with you and avenge you. Yishang knew that Ji Xian must be feeling extremely depressed from being suppressed at this moment. Good. Then I'll wait for your return. At that time, we'll settle the score with them. Don't worry. After you leave, I will take good care of everything that belongs to you. Vice President Ji Xian assured Night Sorrow. Then, he looked at Andrew and Nangong Lotus and said, I can promise you that I will banish the Night Demon to the Mass Burial Star region. But I have a condition. The person who exiled him can only be me and not you. Are you afraid that we'll cripple his cultivation when we banish him? Hearing this, Nangong he immediately laughed sinisterly and said disdainfully, Do you think that's necessary? The human heart is hard to fathom. After Vice Dean Ji Xian finished speaking, he continued, In addition, I need a day's time. Tomorrow, the Night Demon would be exiled. Do you have any objections? Hee. You want to teach him something? We don't care. But you have to understand that no one who enters the Mass Burial Star region can come out. No matter what you do, it's all in vain. Nangong he said with a fake smile. At this moment, Ji Xian chose to compromise. This made her feel good. You don't have to worry about that. At this time tomorrow, we'll meet at the entrance of the Mass Burial Star region. After Vice Dean Ji Xian finished speaking, he led Night Sorrow and the others toward his palace. On the way, Ji Xian looked at Night Sorrow and said, If you have anything to say or arrange, think of it within a day. Jielin and I will help you arrange it. In addition, this Silver Dragon Void Shield is my defensive divine artifact. I'll give it to you to protect your life. It's a 3rd grade half-step Supreme Realm, so it should be better than what you have. Then I'll borrow it from you. Night Sorrow did not stand on ceremony and put away the Silver Dragon Void Shield. He knew that the Mass Burial Star region was definitely very dangerous. He was not prepared to sit still and wait for death. He still wanted to take a gamble. Here are some pills. You have to take them. As for other things, I can't help you with anything else. Vice Dean Ji Xian handed over a small bottle. Night Sorrow took the small bottle and thanked him again. Thank you, teacher. Don't worry, teacher. No matter how hard it is, I will return successfully. I hope so. Vice Dean Ji Xian nodded and said, You should have something to say to your friends. I'll leave the rest to you. After saying that, he entered the starship. The deck of the starship was left to Night Sorrow, Jielin, and the others. After Vice Dean Ji Xian left, the deck was silent for a moment. Night Sorrow smiled and said, Don't be so pessimistic. This is not the first time I've encountered such a situation, but every time I've been able to avert danger. This time should not be an exception. You don't have to be so worried. This time, I'm afraid it will be different from what you've experienced before. No one can walk out of the mass burial star region alive, Jialin said in despair. After a period of thinking, she had already treated Night's Sorrow as a friend. She was really reluctant. Hearing this, Night's Sorrow smiled and said, "There are many people who can't walk out of the mass burial star region, but it doesn't mean that I can't. Since I started cultivating, I've encountered too many difficulties and desperate situations. This is nothing." Speaking of this, Night's Sorrow suddenly remembered the time when he was expelled from the city. At that time, after a series of battles, he finally succeeded in returning. Then, he continued, "However, I'm more worried about Night Devil Peak now. I hope that after I leave, you can help me take care of that place. Can you?" "Of course, that's not a problem. Vice Dean and I will help." "All right, we're about to go on a long journey. Do you want to meet your friends there and make arrangements with them?" Jialin asked after he finished speaking. "If I can go, I naturally want to meet my friends." Night's Sorrow nodded and said. At this moment, Vice Dean Ji Xian said, "If you want to meet them, you can go." "Thank you, teacher. Shall we go there now?" Night's Sorrow asked. Now that the main forces of the two realms were all cultivating in Night Devil Peak, this was what he was most worried about. "Okay, we'll go now." After Vice Dean Ji Xian finished speaking, he steered the starship and left the endless sea of stars with Night's Sorrow and the others. They arrived at the periphery of Night Devil Peak. When they arrived near Night Devil Peak, Ji Xian stopped the starship in the void. He looked at Night's Sorrow and said, "Night's Sorrow, go. If you have anything to say it slowly. Don't be anxious. They won't pursue it if it's a day or two later." "Got it, teacher." Night's Sorrow responded and returned to Night Devil Peak to find Shao Tianxian, Myriad Sword Sect, and the others. Chapter 33:51. After seeing Shao Tianxian and the people of the Myriad Sword Sect, Night's Sorrow did not mention that he would be exiled to the mass burial star field. After exchanging some pleasantries with them, he began to teach them the fog-breathing technique. After teaching the technique, he told everyone that they had to learn it before leaving Night Demon Peak. At this time, the one-day time limit had basically passed. Night's Sorrow had also solved the problem that he was most worried about. Then, he directly went to find Vice Principal Ji Xian and said, "Teacher, you can send me to the mass burial star field now." "Sigh, it's my fault for not having the ability." Vice Principal Ji Xian looked at Night's Sorrow helplessly. Then, he sighed and brought him to find Andrew and Nangong Lotus. Night's Sorrow naturally did not blame Ji Xian for this matter. On the way, he smiled and said, "Teacher, you don't have to blame yourself. My luck is better. Maybe this trip is an opportunity. I'm very gratified that you can maintain such a mentality." After saying this, Vice Principal Ji Xian thought for a moment and continued, "If you can persist in the mass burial star field for 10,000 years, I will ask the Supreme Venerables who have come out of seclusion to bring you out. So, no matter what difficulties you encounter there, you must not give up. Teacher, don't worry. Even if there is no Supreme Venerables, I will not give up." Night's Sorrow nodded and said. At the same time, he felt that the fog-breathing technique taught by Professor Hengshi was really too useful. In the coming years, as long as he persevered in his cultivation, his identity in the fog area would not be exposed. At that time, he would not have to be afraid of facing the Supreme Venerables. Naturally, he could also go to the top of the Mountain of Flames and complete that hidden mission. Your mentality is very good. This is very good. In addition, you need to remember that every Supreme Venerables has a strong mind. The difficulties they encounter are not something that can be summed up with life and death. If you can pass through the mass burial star field, your future will definitely be limitless. When Andrew and Nangong Lotus arrived, Vice Principal Ji Xian once again said to Night's Sorrow, "I will come out of the mass burial star field." Night's Sorrow took one last look at Vice Principal Ji Xian, then looked at Andrew and Nangong Lotus and said, "One day, the two of you will definitely regret what happened today. Are you threatening us?" He was really courting death. Don't think that I won't dare to kill you." Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Nangongha immediately flew into a rage. A wave of scorching energy also rose from her palm, as if she could attack at any time. Seeing Princess Lotus like this, Andrew laughed and said, "Ha ha, why are you getting angry at someone who is about to die? I'm afraid he can't wait for you to kill him and avoid the trip to the chaotic burial starfield. After all, we all know what kind of environment that place is." What you said makes sense." After Andrew finished speaking, Princess Lotus smiled coldly. She looked at Knight and said, "I know that you are very angry and feel that you have been targeted. Hee hee, we are targeting you. What can you do about it?" Ant. She was an expert who was half a step into the Supreme Realm 4th stage. She did not care about Night Sorrow at all. Now that Night Sorrow had advanced to a Middle Heavenly Sovereign, he should be able to fight with a half-step to Grade 2. However, the difference between him and the 4th stage of the Supreme Realm was still very big. Naturally, he would not attack Nangongha directly. He sneered and said, "With your temperament, I'm afraid you will never be able to advance to the Supreme Realm. Thinking about it, it's really sad. One day, I will surpass you and trample you under my feet. Bastard, you are really courting death." Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Nangongha was completely enraged. She glared at him and attacked. "Nangongha, you have gone too far." At this moment, Dean Ji Xian, who was already prepared, suddenly attacked and blocked Nangongha's attack. Both sides took a few steps back. At this time, Andrew looked at Night Sorrow and said disdainfully, "A Middle Heavenly Sovereign doesn't have the right to worry about existences at our level. You'd better think about how to survive in the chaotic burial starfield. When I come back, you are all trash." After Night Sorrow finished speaking, he looked at Dean Ji Xian and said, "Teacher, send me in." Hearing this, Andrew smiled and said, "Let's talk about it when you can come out. You must hold on over there. Go." At this moment, Vice Dean Ji Xian spoke and brought Yi Shan to the entrance of the chaotic burial starfield. He said, "Go in. Take good care of yourself." "Teacher, don't worry," Night Sorrow said and walked into the chaotic burial starfield without hesitation. "Hee hee, you have some courage, but it's a pity that you won't be coming out again." After Night Sorrow walked in, Nangongha sneered and left with Andrew. Dean Ji Xian looked at the entrance of the chaotic burial starfield for a while. In the end, he shook his head and sighed before turning around and leaving. Night Sorrow entered the chaotic burial starfield. At the first moment, he realized how cruel the environment of the chaotic burial starfield was. As soon as he entered, he saw countless broken stars. These star fragments were all sealed in ice. Moreover, with Night Sorrow's physical strength, he actually felt cold here and couldn't help but tremble. From this, it could be seen how cold this world was. After observing for a while with the sea serpent's eye, Night Sorrow said, "This world is very big. What we saw should only be the tip of the iceberg. There are no living creatures in front of us, and the cold here is too fierce. Let's go to other areas to take a look. I'm afraid there's no good place in this chaotic burial starfield. Otherwise, why would Nangongha and Andrew insist on throwing you here?" Little Five, who was controlling the Eternal Divine Tower, said unoptimistically. Hearing this, Night Sorrow said, "This place is very cold, but I have the Phoenix bloodline and the Leakin bloodline. As long as this place doesn't suddenly erupt with an even more terrifying cold, it won't be a problem for me to persist for 10,000 years. However, it was unacceptable for him to remain here for 10,000 years without any progress in his cultivation. Let's see if we can find a place to cultivate." In front of him, other than the cold, there were desolate star fragments. There were no cultivation resources at all. If he stayed here for a long time, Night Sorrow's cultivation would only stagnate. This was something he couldn't accept at all. After saying that, he took the Eternal Divine Tower and the summoned Forbidden Breaking Hammer and flew into the depths of the chaotic burial starfield. However, after flying for a while, they suddenly realized that the coldness inside was even more terrifying than before. In this kind of cold, Night Sorrow could still barely hold on. However, the Eternal Divine Tower and the Forbidden Breaking Hammer soon couldn't hold on anymore. The male hammer said through voice transmission, "Let's keep us inside. If we're frozen for a while more, the female hammer and I will be crippled." "All right, little five, you guys come in too." Hearing this, Night Sorrow kept the Forbidden Breaking Hammer and the Eternal Divine Tower into his space. Then, he continued to wander in the harsh environment of the chaotic burial starfield. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.